Chapter 209, Sister Miaoga, Offended. _1 What? Sister Miaoga is critically injured, unconscious, and might not make it. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng's eyes suddenly opened wide, with a sword-like gleam flashing through them. He hastily got up and walked out of the room, looking at Zhang Shan and asking what had happened. Second Master, I really don't know what happened. Just now, my wife saw the badly injured big boss in the city and hurriedly brought her here, but she was already unconscious by the time she arrived, Zhang Shan said anxiously. After hearing this, Lu Changxing didn't ask any more questions and immediately went downstairs. He arrived at the first-floor lounge. There, he immediately saw Zhang Shan's wife, Bai Su, propping Lu Miaoga up in a chair. At that moment, Lu Miaoga's exquisitely beautiful face, as pure as snow, was incredibly pale without a trace of color, and fresh blood was oozing from the corner of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were dim and closed, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, showing signs of pain. Her snow-white dress was somewhat disheveled and torn, stained red with blood. On her back, there was a noticeable wound from which black malevolent energy was seeping out. Lu Changxing could tell at a glance that Lu Miaoga was in very bad shape. Her vitality was faint, and death was pervading her. Sister Miaoga. Seeing Lu Miaoga in this condition, Lu Changsheng's face changed, and he stepped forward to support her. He took out a porcelain bottle from his storage bag, poured out an elixir, and put it into Lu Miaoga's mouth. This was the first-grade top-quality healing pill he had bought himself, known for its restorative effects. He then took out a dew talisman and used it on Lu Miaoga. Changxing, hearing Lu Changsheng's voice, Lu Miaoga barely opened her eyes. Her pale face managed to show a faint smile, seemingly wanting to say something. But as soon as she opened her mouth, blood seeped from the corner of her lips. No use, such an injury has already damaged the heart meridian and is spreading throughout the body. To heal and save a life, at least a second-rank top-quality elixir, or even a third-rank elixir would be needed. Lu Changxing grasped Lu Miaoga's wrist to check her condition. He found that her situation was extremely dire. She was completely in a critical state, as if the oil was gone and the lamp was burning out. Not only were her injuries severe, but the strike on her back also had a tyrannical force that was eroding and devouring Lu Miaoga's spiritual power and vitality. His ordinary healing pills and talisman spells were utterly ineffective. What to do, what to do? Thoughts raced through Lu Changsheng's mind at high speed. He pondered how to save Lu Miaoga. After all, he had always held special affection for Lu Miaoga, the young lady, in his heart. The two had known each other for so many years, spent so much time together, and had developed deep feelings for each other. Even in his heart, Lu Changxing had long considered Lu Miaoga his woman, the mother of his future children. This situation made it impossible for Lu Changxing to watch Lu Miaoga die. A third-rank elixir is simply impossible to buy. A second-rank life-saving elixir isn't so easy to obtain either. Moreover, there's no time for me to look for a second-rank elixir now. In this situation, only by asking a Foundation establishment great cultivators skilled in healing is there a hope of saving her life. Lu Changxing could only think of two methods, but neither was feasible. Just then, he suddenly thought of a method. Dual cultivation. In the yin-yang harmony technique, there was a recorded secret technique. Nirvana art, this was a replenishing technique. By continuously harnessing a woman's fundamental yin energy, the great medicine of the human body, it could be used to heal one's own injuries and attain rebirth. Lu Changxing, who had thoroughly comprehended the yin-yang harmony technique, was very clear about this. This cultivation technique could be practiced in reverse, with yin and yang interchanging. Using his own pure yang energy, the essence of his human body, to nourish a woman, to treat her injuries and allow for a rebirth. But I'm no longer a pure yang body, and my cultivation is only at the chi refinement realm. Even if I use the nirvana art, the effect is limited, and against such injuries, it's not certain that she can be saved, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He knew that even with such a secret technique, it wouldn't be simple to save Lu Miaoge. Moreover, his relationship with Lu Miaoge hadn't progressed to that stage. And it wouldn't be right to use such a secret technique to save someone. Chongqing, be careful when you go out, the assailant is no ordinary robber cultivator. They came prepared, Lu Miaoge said, coughing up blood. Sister Miaoge, don't talk right now, you must hold on. Lu Chongqing immediately said. He could see that Lu Miaoge was hanging on by a thread. Once she finished speaking her mind and her mental spirit relaxed, she would pass away. Cough cough. Chongqing, you once asked me what I looked for in a Dao companion. Actually, I think you're quite suitable, it's just that you're too sentimental. And you already have. Miaoyun, however, dying in front of you, I am already content, cough cough, my only regret is the despair of never reaching foundation establishment, I hope you can experience it for me. Lu Miaoge, knowing she was about to die, spoke her true feelings. And she didn't forget to encourage Lu Chongqing to continue cultivating. As soon as she finished speaking, her eyes began to dim. Sister Miaoge, hold on, I have a way to save you. Lu Chongqing said directly. At this moment, he no longer hesitated or overthought. He decided to use the Nirvana art to treat Lu Miaoge. Because apart from the Nirvana art, Lu Chongqing had no other options. As for losing her innocence and exposing his techniques, Lu Chongqing didn't want to think too much about that at this time. Saving her was what mattered most. Besides, she had now confessed her feelings. After the treatment, she would become the mother of his children. Having made his decision, Lu Chongqing no longer hid his abilities. He infused his 7 luminaries' spiritual power into Lu Miaoge's body, first to halt the malevolent energy at her wound from destroying her vitality. Chongqing. Lu Miaoge, feeling the spiritual power surge into her body, was momentarily startled. She hadn't expected Lu Chongqing's spiritual power to be so robust. But just speaking had used up all her strength, and her consciousness was fading fast. Chapter 210, Sister Miaoge, Offended. I'm going to heal Sister Miaoge. Don't let anyone disturb me. Lu Chongqing knew he couldn't delay any longer. After speaking, he gently lifted Lu Miaoge's delicate and soft body and swiftly made his way to the 3rd floor. He then took out a set of formation tools from his storage bag and laid them out. He set up the superior formation Heavenly Canopy 5 Elements formation, which he had obtained from Xiaolong. He brought Lu Miaoge to the bedroom and laid her on the bed. Sister Miaoge, I apologize for the offense. Lu Chongqing didn't hesitate. He directly began to undo her blood-stained white dress, peeling away the fabric. Her alluring fair skin was revealed. Her curves undulated, her figure captivating, as though she were heaven's perfect creation. A healer holds a parent's heart, I am now saving a life, with no other thoughts. Lu Chongqing chanted to himself as he saw the usually pure and ethereal Lu Miaoge revealed without her mysterious veil, her icy beauty unveiled. But on the flawless, lustrous back of her jade-like body, there was a dark, black wound oozing with a malevolent aura. Lu Chongqing took out a dew talisman from his storage bag and placed it on the wound on her back. Chongqing, at that moment, the last bit of consciousness in Lu Miaoge made her pale face flush with a trace of red, and she faintly called out his name. But she was too weak to speak, and her consciousness was fading. She could only let Lu Chongqing arrange her in such an embarrassing position. Sister Miaoge, I apologize for the offense. Lu Chongqing repeated. And then. On the 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing operated the yin-yang nirvana art, channeling his own yang essence to treat Lu Miaoge's injuries. By this time, Lu Miaoge had already lost consciousness. She was barely clinging to life, sustained only by Lu Chongqing's efforts. Though she was unconscious, she seemed to sense something. Her jade body, covered only by a pair of white silk luo socks, tensed slightly, her figure moving subtly. And so, as time slowly passed, the malevolent aura from the wound on Lu Maiage's back was gradually suppressed and contained. Life began to slowly return to her body. It's working. Miss, oh miss, I'm spending my life to heal you. You'd better make it up to me when the time comes. Lu Chongqing looked at the still unconscious but now slightly frowning Lu Miaoge, and exhaled softly. He knew with his yang cultivation, even with the yin-yang nirvana art, it was very difficult to truly save Lu Miaoge. He decisively used another secret technique from the yin-yang harmony technique, the life transference technique. Using this method, he sacrificed his own lifespan to transfer his essence and yang essence into Lu Maiage's body. Who? Lu Chongqing took a deep breath. Then he grabbed one of the white-socked, delicate jade feet and continued the healing. Down on the first floor of the spiritual talisman shop. What's going on with Miaoge? What's the situation now? How is my sister doing? The second elder and Lu Miaohuan rushed to the spiritual talisman shop upon learning of Lu Maiage's situation to inquire. Second elder Lu, I'm unclear about the situation as well. At the time, the master was already at death's door, with only a thread of life remaining. But second master said he had a way to save her, so he took the master to the third floor and said he must not be disturbed. Zhang Shan sighed slightly as he spoke. He was also a cultivator. Though he was only at the 6th level of qi refinement, he could see that Lu Miaoge was almost at death's door. Unless there was some elixir or a foundation establishment great cultivator skilled in healing, there might be a chance to save her. How long has it been, and there's still no response? Lu Miaohuan asked anxiously, wearing a black dress, her delicate features showing urgency. She was a bit rebellious and liked to oppose her sister Lu Miaoge, but the love between the two sisters was still deep. It's been 1 day, but I don't know the specifics and didn't dare to disturb them. Zhang Shan said. 1 day already. That's too long. No, I have to go see. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaohuan said urgently, wanting to go upstairs to check. Miss Lu, this. Second master specifically instructed not to disturb him. Zhang Shan displayed a troubled expression. Miaohuan. Seeing this, the second elder immediately called out to Lu Miaohuan. If Chongqing says he has a way to save Miaoge, perhaps he really does. The second elder thought of the old ancestor once saying that Lu Chongqing was a person of great destiny. Perhaps he truly had a way to heal Lu Miaoge. Moreover, so much time had passed, and they could only rely on Lu Chongqing now. Miaoge has talismans and magic artifacts for protection. Ordinary robber cultivators are no match for her. It's very likely that this time it wasn't an ordinary robber cultivator, but someone who came prepared. I will notify the family of the situation and Miaohuan, you must not leave the 9 Dragons Market. It's best if you stay in the big courtyard. The second elder continued speaking to Lu Miaohuan. Then he looked at Zhang Shan, if Chongqing comes out, please let someone inform me. Don't worry, second elder Lu, if the master comes out, he'll send someone to notify you immediately. Zhang Shan gave a fist salute and nodded. Back on the 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing was still treating Lu Miaoge. Just then, a soft, tender moan sounded. Lu Chongqing heard the noise and instantly felt joy in his heart. He knew that Lu Maiage's condition had improved. He immediately intensified the treatment, careful not to lose the hard-won spark of life. But as he looked at the woman before him, with her hair like a waterfall, skin like snow, and a graceful figure, Lu Chongqing suddenly realized an issue. What if Lu Miaoge woke up? Given the current situation, he felt somewhat awkward about how to face her. After all, the relationship between him and Lu Miaoge wasn't that close. Although he was doing this to save her, for someone like Lu Miaoge, her purity was of great importance. Chapter 211, Sister Miaoge, Offended. As Lu Chongqing was pondering how to face Lu Miaoge when she woke up, he heard her soft moan again. The sound was tender and contained a slight hint of inhibited endurance. In that moment, Lu Chongqing immediately realized that Lu Miaoge was very likely awake. Lu Chongqing wanted to speak up, but for a moment, he didn't know what to say. Looking at Lu Miaoge with her beautiful eyes tightly shut and suppressing her voice, Lu Chongqing suddenly understood. In this situation, it wasn't just him who felt awkward. Lu Miaoge felt awkward too. She didn't know how to face him either. After all, Lu Miaoge's personality was gentle and aloof. Her heartfelt confessions earlier had been prompted by the face of impending death. Now, having revived and under these circumstances, it naturally made Lu Miaoge uncertain how to react. Like an ostrich, she continued to pretend to be unconscious, trying hard not to make any sound. Understanding the gist of the situation, and seeing Lu Miaoge like this, Lu Chongqing thought of a way to alleviate the awkwardness. His palm gently caressed Lu Miaoge's back, smooth as white jade and flawless as if the injuries had never existed. At this moment, the injured skin on her back had healed completely, smooth like jade, leaving no trace of wounds. Then, Lu Chongqing gently embraced Lu Miaoge. Burying his head into her slender, jade-like neck, he inhaled the faint fragrance of her hair. In these conditions, Lu Miaoge still kept her beautiful eyes firmly shut. But her pale cheeks were flushed to the tips of her ears, her breathing somewhat rapid. The words spoken before dying. The situation at the moment made Lu Miaoge feel so embarrassed and ashamed, she wished she hadn't woken up, that she had just died instead. But then she thought of Lu Changsheng's worried and caring look. Right now, the treatment he was giving her was solely to save her life. She could distinctly feel the continuous flow of vitality entering her body through this method, healing her injuries. And her injuries had been contained, it was just that she still felt incredibly weak. Knowing that Lu Changsheng's actions definitely involved significant sacrifice. Otherwise, with the severity of her injuries, she would have been beyond saving. As her thoughts scattered, with Lu Changsheng's treatment speeding up, Lu Miaoge gradually found it harder to suppress her bodhi's instincts, clinging tightly to the sheets, biting her lips. Hoping for Lu Chongqing to finish the treatment soon so he would leave. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to confront Lu Chongqing. After all, she had a fondness for Lu Chongqing, but her feelings weren't yet deep. Usually, she somewhat regarded him as a younger brother. Moreover, nominally, Lu Chongqing was her brother-in-law. To be in such a state with her brother-in-law. Lu Chongqing, of course, had no idea what Lu Miaoge was thinking. He continued tirelessly, growing more vigorous in his efforts. After all, Lu Miaoge's condition was indeed still weak, and needed stabilizing through treatment. He was also observing Lu Miaoge's condition, gauging her limits, careful not to take his teasing too far. After all, such matters had to be taken one step at a time. Time ticked away. How much longer will this last? If I don't wake up, will Chongqing keep going like this? But isn't it said in the book? Lu Miaoge gasped for air, her entire body felt slack like mud under the treatment. Unaware of how much longer Lu Chongqing would take. She thought to herself that she should have spoken up when she woke up. Now numb and limp, she didn't even have the strength to talk. At that moment, seeing Lu Miaoge sweating profusely and her feet arched in tension, Lu Chongqing knew her condition was temporarily stable and he let out a low growl, ending the treatment. Afterward, he collapsed as if completely drained of energy, falling into unconsciousness. Chongqing. Lu Miaoge came back to her senses from the lingering aftermath and saw Lu Chongqing lying motionless. She couldn't help but call out to him twice. But seeing that Lu Chongqing gave no response, her heart couldn't help but race, her mind in turmoil. She worried that Lu Chongqing might have harmed himself in the process of saving her. Pop, Lu Miaoge pursed her lips slightly, and propped herself up a bit to look at Lu Changsheng. She immediately saw Lu Changsheng's handsome face, which was exhausted and pale. Changsheng. Lu Miaoge called out with concern, wanting to check on Lu Changsheng's condition. And just at that moment, Lu Changsheng opened his tired eyes. Sister Miaoge, you're awake. That's great. Lu Changsheng looked at Lu Miaoge and showed a weak but happy smile. Changsheng, are you all right? Lu Miaoge asked concernedly. I'm fine, just a bit drained, cough cough. Lu Changsheng spoke softly. Sister Miaoge, I'm sorry, at that time, cough, cough, cough. I wasn't thinking about much, I just wanted to save you, so. After a moment of silence, Lu Miaoge, with a complex look in her eyes, bit her lip gently, and said softly, Changsheng, don't blame yourself, thank you for saving me. Sister Miaoge, I will take responsibility, cough, cough, when the time comes, I will ask the family head for your hand in marriage. Would you like to marry me? Lu Changsheng continued, his face weak but filled with hope. Marry, a proposal. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaoge's mind was in chaos. She didn't quite know how to reply for a while. The pace of this change in their relationship was too rapid. It took her a moment to adjust, to come back to her senses from the current situation. Sister Miaoge, don't you want to? Lu Changsheng said somewhat disheartened. Changsheng, can you give me some time? Lu Miaoge, holding one of Lu Changsheng's hands, looked into his eyes tenderly. Cough, cough, okay, Lu Changsheng nodded gently. He knew that Lu Miaoge must be feeling very confused right now. The deed was already done, there was no need to rush at this moment. Changsheng, are you sure you're all right? To save me, you must have paid a significant price, right? Lu Miaoge said, with a face full of concern. Lu Changsheng looked as if he had something to say but couldn't bring himself to say it. After a moment of silence, he said, I'm fine, I just need some rest. Changsheng, please tell me the truth. Seeing Lu Changsheng looking like this, how could Lu Miaoge possibly believe that he was fine? Sister Miaoge, you should know that I have some secrets. This time it was a type of dual cultivation secret technique, Lu Changsheng confessed quietly. I know, I do not blame you. Changsheng, everyone has their secrets, I realized early on you were different from ordinary cultivators. Don't worry, I will definitely keep your secret safe, Lu Miaoge immediately asserted, her pale face turning serious as she raised her hand as if to swear. I naturally trust you, Sister Miaoge. What I mean is, this type of healing belongs to a kind of dual cultivation technique. If I wish to recover slowly, I must use another kind of dual cultivation secret technique. Lu Changsheng said with a wry smile. After hearing his words, Lu Miaoge blushed deeply, her embarrassment reaching her ears. But considering their current situation, she bit her lip and nodded. Afterward, Lu Changsheng passed on the tender embrace technique to Lu Miaoge. P.S. The second chapter will be a bit late, but it will come. Chapter 212, 70 Kids Draw Lottery, Profound Origin Bead. _1 Spiritual Talisman Shop, 3rd floor. Inside the bedroom, a man and a woman embraced in sleep. Scattered beside the bed were a green bamboo leaf brocade robe and blood-stained white clothes, undergarments, and a lotus corset. Lu Miaoge woke up. Looking at Lu Changsheng, who was still hugging her in his sleep, the events of the past few days flashed through her mind. Her already pale cheeks instantly flushed with color, red as blood. She even felt as if she was dreaming. At first, it was Lu Changsheng healing her wounds. But then, it turned into her healing Lu Changsheng's wounds. After that, it became the two of them healing through dual cultivation. Thinking of the details of the dual cultivation process, and how Lu Changsheng had playfully tormented her, Lu Miaoge couldn't help but blush to the tips of her ears and touched her lower abdomen. Sigh, she let out a helpless sigh. She could only say it was fortunate they were healing through dual cultivation. Otherwise, she feared that in a few months' time upon her return, she would have to go back with a bulging belly. Thinking of going back with a bulging belly, the gazes of her father, the fourth elder, and Lu Miaoyun, she dared not continue the thought. Lu Miaoge no longer dwelled on the thought and slightly sat up. Looking at the marks on her flawless body, her gaze towards Lu Chongqing was filled with a trace of resentment. She couldn't help thinking, no wonder Lu Chongqing had so many wives and concubines. If there were only one, how could she withstand such rough treatment? Lu Miaoge took out a new set of clothes from her storage bag and dressed herself, restoring her usual ethereal and elegant appearance. Sister Miaoge. At this moment, Lu Chongqing, hearing the movement, also woke up. He wasn't pretending to be asleep. This round of healing indeed left him extremely exhausted and weary. Chongqing, you're awake. How is your body feeling? Lu Miaoge pursed her lips and asked tenderly with a voice like a virtuous wife and loving mother. It's not too bad, with a few more sessions of dual cultivation, I should be able to fully recover, Lu Chongqing said, smiling and speaking frankly. Dual cultivating with Shao Qing wasn't much help to him. But dual cultivating with Lu Miaoge was indeed much more effective. It was almost equivalent to half a month of arduous cultivation. However, he couldn't solely rely on this method for cultivation. Occasionally using dual cultivation to advance was beneficial for both men and women. But if it was too frequent, it could lead to an unstable foundation. Lu Miaoge, hearing the words dual cultivation, couldn't help but blush. Although dual cultivation was beneficial for her as well. She had experienced it over these days. But she still found it somewhat difficult to let go. Sister Miaoge, what exactly happened with the attack you encountered? Lu Chongqing knew Lu Miaoge was a bit shy, so he got dressed and changed the subject. On my way here, I encountered 4 law cultivators at the late stage of energy refinement, she responded softly. They all concealed their faces, but through their methods, it was obvious they came prepared, specifically targeting me, she continued. However, I don't know who they were or who they were acting under. It might be the Qin family who sent them, but it's also possible that other families were involved, trying to shift the disaster eastward and give the Qin family trouble. Lu Miaoge spoke quietly. Lu Chongqing nodded upon hearing her words. If they concealed their faces and auras, it would be really difficult to identify them and find out who was behind the act. After all, when the wall falls, everybody pushes. The situation with the Lu family, as Lu Miaoge described, other families could very likely be involved. Sister Miaoge, let's leave this matter to be handled by the family, Lu Chongqing said. Regarding your condition, you can announce to the outside world that your heart meridians were damaged, which might bring some unexpected benefits, he suggested. Under his treatment, Lu Miaoge's body wasn't damaged to the point of affecting her heart meridians, but she still needed to recover for a while. Saying so would not only create a smokescreen but also help conceal the effects of his treatment. Alright, I will inform them as such when the time comes, Lu Miaoge nodded slightly in response. She continued, by now, the second elder should also be aware. We should go and inform him, so as not to worry him. She had already become accustomed to sharing a room with Lu Chongqing. But now that their relationship had progressed further, she was somewhat unsure how to act around him. Sitting like this, she couldn't help but be reminded of the events of the last few days, leaving her heart in turmoil. We should let him know, Lu Chongqing agreed. The incident involving Lu Miaohuan and Jing Yongshan had reached Lu Miaoge's ears. Now that Lu Miaoge was seriously injured, the second elder would definitely have been informed. Chongqing, regarding the healing, I will keep it a secret and claim that you came across an elixir and a secret technique by chance. As for what has transpired between us, let's not mention it to anyone for now, alright? Lu Miaoge took a breath, her voice carrying a bit of a plea. She could face Lu Chongqing normally. But she wasn't sure how to deal with what had happened between them, or how to face the fourth elder and Lu Miaoyun. Alright, I'll listen to you, Sister Miaoge. I definitely won't mention it to anyone, Lu Chongqing responded with a smile. He was also aware that their relationship had taken quite a sudden leap forward these past few days. The affection between them needed more time to grow. Afterward, he cleaned up the traces left in the bedroom from the past days and went downstairs. First Master, Second Master, Zhang Shan greeted them respectfully as they descended from the upper floor. He conveyed the information regarding the second elder and Lu Miaohuan's visit. Thank you, Uncle Zhang. Aunt Bai was a great help with Sister Miaoge's situation. This is a small token of my gratitude, Lu Chongqing said, taking out 3 superior-grade talismans from the storage bag as a thank-you gift. If it hadn't been for Zhang Shan's wife getting Lu Miaoge to him in time, he might not have had the chance to see her again. Second Master, you're too kind, Zhang Shan said, waving his hand in denial. But seeing Lu Changsheng's insistence, Zhang Shan accepted the talismans. After all, 3 superior-grade talismans were not a small sum for him. Chapter 213, Lottery Draw for 70 Kids, Profound Origin Bead. Watching Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoge leave side by side, looking like a golden boy and jade girl, Zhang Shan couldn't help but take a few more glances. He always felt that today, the 2 bosses seemed to have become much closer, but he couldn't quite put his finger on where. Regarding this, he didn't pay much attention, as it was none of his business. Eastern District, Lu family's large courtyard. Miaoge, I'm glad you're all right. Chongqing, I owe you a great debt this time. Rest assured, I will report this to the family and apply for a reward for you, the second elder said upon seeing the somewhat pale faces of Lu Miaoge and Lu Chongqing. He couldn't help but inwardly remark that indeed, as the old ancestor had said, Lu Chongqing was a person of great destiny and had opportunities at his disposal. If it weren't for Lu Chongqing this time, perhaps Lu Miaoge would have been in danger. Lu Miaoge was not only talented but also a high-quality talisman master. If something had actually happened to her, it would have been adding frost to snow for the Lu family's current situation. You flatter me, second elder, this is what I should do, Lu Chongqing said with a bow. Soon after, the second elder also expressed that he had already sent a message back to the Lu family. Moreover, he would ask the enforcement team of the 9 Dragons Market to investigate the perpetrator behind the scenes. If an ordinary loose cultivator died, they'd be dead, no one would know or care. But Lu Miaoge, as a descendant of the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain, having encountered an assassination near the 9 Dragons Market and returning to the marketplace severely wounded, the marketplace would have to give an explanation. After all, such an incident would also reflect poorly on the marketplace itself. Most cultivators come to the marketplace seeking stability. If there are such bold robber cultivators who even ambush the descendants of cultivation families, it would naturally cause loose cultivators to feel uneasy and affect the marketplace's traffic. Meanwhile, in an inn at the 9 Dragons Market, how could you fail at such a simple task? 4 of you, and yet you still couldn't kill a 7th-level energy refinement cultivator. Third young master of the Yu family, Yuning Yuan, said to the 4 people before him, his face dark with anger. Third young master, Lu Miaoge survived by using talismans to escape near the marketplace, so we didn't dare continue the pursuit, and she had been hit by my black fiend slash, with her life force beginning to fade, so her death seemed certain. I have no idea how she managed to survive. A stocky middle-aged man said while bowing. He also couldn't understand how Lu Miaoge had managed to survive. Humph, a bunch of useless trash. The third young master of the Yu family huffed coldly. He came here not only to poach Lu Chongqing, but also had other motives. That was to eliminate Lu Chongqing, Lu Miaoge, and several other Lu family disciples as much as possible. Not only could it severely damage the vitality of the Lu family, but it would also infuriate them. When these things came to light, the Lu family would immediately suspect the Qin family. The Lu family was already like a trapped beast, constantly in friction with the Qin family. Once these incidents emerged, the conflict would explode, leading to an all-out confrontation with the Qin family. But he hadn't expected that the 4 people he had arranged failed to kill Lu Miaoge, a 7th-level energy refinement cultivator. And now that this incident had occurred, the Lu family members would surely be on guard, making it harder to find another opportunity. System. After Lu Chongqing returned home, he murmured inwardly and opened the system interface. Name, Lu Chongqing. Status, son-in-law of Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Cultivation level, 7th level energy refinement. Lifespan, 27/155. Talent, 6th grade spiritual root. Cultivation techniques, 100 refinements treasure body art. 7 luminaries great freedom sword scripture. Spells, flame bullet technique, wind control skill, object manipulating technique, aura concealment technique, spiritual eye technique, sound transmitting technique, skills, talisman making, 2nd rank, puppet, 2nd rank, spiritual pets, 9 netherhound, peach blossom goo, offspring, 68/81, view details, 155, which means, saving that person cost me 8 years of my lifespan, Lu Chongqing murmured as he checked his lifespan through the system. He knew that saving someone using the life transference technique and the nirvana art had cost him his own lifespan, but didn't know exactly how many years had been consumed. Now, seeing it on the system interface gave him a clear understanding. It seems that I really can't do this too often, otherwise no amount of lifespan would be enough. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but exhale deeply. However, he wasn't overly concerned. Mainly because he was still young and had a lot of lifespan left, so he wasn't in a rush. Already 68 children, I wonder if at 70 the system will give any more child money. Lu Chongqing thought to himself. Given the current situation of the Lu family, the urgency to improve his strength had intensified. But to enhance one's strength, apart from relying on time to cultivate, the fastest method was through opportunities. While others obtained chances through exploring relics and antecedents caves, he naturally relied on having children and then receiving child money from the system. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop. On the table and chairs beside the bed lay neatly folded white swirling dresses, white undergarments, plain lotus belly bands, belts, and blue-green bamboo leaf robes. Chongqing, I'll leave the shop in your care. Lu Miaoge, no longer paler, looked fresh and radiant. Her graceful, alluring figure lay in Lu Changsheng's arms as she softly spoke. When it came to matters of men and women, there was a first time, a second time, a third time. At first, Lu Miaoge was somewhat reserved. But after Lu Chongqing suggested dual cultivation for healing, which led to the second and third times, she gradually loosened up. This time, however, she was about to leave, returning to Qingzhou Mountain. So the two of them spent the whole night healing in the spiritual talisman shop. Okay, I'll take care of the shop, Lu Chongqing nodded in reply. But in truth, he felt a bit helpless. He had originally planned to return to Qingzhou Mountain with the second elder. However, Lu Miaoge had to go back because of the assassination attempt, so he was left to hold the fort here. Chapter 214, 70 Children's Draw, Profound Origin Bead. Lu Miaoge gave Lu Chongqing a peck on the cheek and then threw back the covers. A pair of slender, jade-like legs stretched out, and the crystal-clear, crescent moon-like feet touched the ground, presenting her beautifully curved figure as she quickly dressed. She restored herself to the usual ethereal beauty, as pure as snow and as elegant as a celestial. However, at this moment, the tenderness on her face made her seem less ethereal than usual. Chongqing, I will head there first. Lu Miaoge said gently. All right, Sister Miaoge, be careful. Lu Chongqing nodded. With the beautiful lady having departed, Lu Chongqing also got up, exhaled softly, and dressed himself. He could feel that, although Lu Miaoge was close and intimate with him, she seemed to be indulging and appeasing him a bit. Or rather, Lu Miaoge didn't entertain the idea of marrying him. Therefore, she tried to accommodate him in other aspects, as a form of compensation. After all, we are missing a certain opportunity. Or perhaps, the young lady has a hurdle in her heart she can't overcome. Lu Chongqing had a rough idea of why Lu Miaoge behaved this way. One reason was the issue with the fourth elder and Lu Miaoyun, which Lu Miaoge didn't know how to face. The other was having children. Lu Miaoge still harbored the ambition of the path of cultivation, aiming for a slim chance at foundation establishment. Having children would undoubtedly delay and affect her cultivation. Sigh, I don't necessarily need to have children either. Lu Chongqing shook his head. As for having children, he also left it to personal choice. If Lu Miaoge truly didn't want to, he wouldn't force her to do anything. After all, he very much understood such matters for cultivators. However, in his case, with many wives, concubines, and maids, children were plenty. Any woman marrying him was likely influenced, feeling the need to have at least a couple of children. But now I have to stay here for half a year, the matter of having children will have to be put aside. Lu Chongqing sighed. He thought of how he had sent back to Qingzhou Mountain all his maids with spiritual roots. Now, in Nine Dragons Marketplace aside from Shaoqing, the other maids did not possess spiritual roots. Under such circumstances, his plans for superior progeny became somewhat challenging. Do I need to visit the White Jade Tower again? Lu Chongqing pondered to himself. It's been a long time since I've performed a good deed, you'll take it as doing something good. After considering, Lu Chongqing decided to make a trip to the White Jade Tower after all. After all, his efforts at breeding superior offspring mustn't cease. Counting Lu Miaoge, he only had 11 wives, concubines, and maids with spiritual roots. Meanwhile, Red Leaf Valley. Senior, are you saying that you are willing to lend a hand to the Qin family? Qin family patriarch Qin Shuixing asked the petite youth before him, with respect. Indeed, I have an old grudge with someone from the Lu family. Hearing that there is a blood feud between your Qin family and the Lu family, and with the Lu family ancestor about to pass away, I've come to settle this grudge and, by the way, claim a share of the spoils. Meng Xiaochan said aloud. That would certainly be acceptable. May I know what conditions or requirements you have, senior? Qin Shuixing continued respectfully upon hearing this. After all, despite his unimpressive appearance, the slim youth before him was a foundation establishment great cultivator. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. Lu Chongqing had also added 3 maids in his courtyard at the Nine Dragons Market. They were, of course, the unfortunate souls he had rescued from White Jade Tower. All 3 possessed spiritual roots. However, their spiritual roots were not high, only 9th grade spiritual roots. It wasn't that Lu Chongqing had run out of spirit stones. He thought that since he couldn't afford maids with middle grade spiritual roots anyway, he might as well save some money. He also just wanted to see how much his middle grade spiritual root would influence his children's spiritual roots. Phew! With this pace, in half a year, I should be able to break through to the 8th level energy refinement. Inside the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing, who had been meditating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and let out a long breath. Having such a cultivation speed was partly thanks to the assistance of the tender embrace technique. Another reason was that he continuously spent money and boosted his progress with elixir medicines. But with this speed of cultivation, Lu Chongqing still wasn't satisfied. After finishing his cultivation session, Lu Chongqing stood up and went to the talisman room, ready to draw talismans. Although he had come to Nine Dragons Market to take charge, the number of talismans he had to draw every month had indeed increased. He also had to spend quite some time each day drawing talismans. Just as he had taken out the talisman-making materials and was about to start the talisman-making process, a system prompt rang out. Congratulations to the host for having 70 descendants, you have earned one lucky draw chance. Really 20 portions of child money. In that case, by the looks of it, will the next one be at 90 or 100 children? Hearing this system prompt, Lu Chongqing couldn't help but raise an eyebrow and speculate. However, this time, neither Jiang Luyuan nor Yu Yao's children have spiritual roots. The next moment, Lu Chongqing shook his head slightly. He clearly remembered who the mothers of his 69th and 70th children were during this period. But neither of the children had shown signs of spiritual root pulsations, indicating that they did not possess spiritual roots. System, draw the prize. Without giving it too much thought, Lu Chongqing silently uttered in his mind, wondering if this time the lucky draw could bring him a pleasant surprise. Immediately, the great spinning wheel of the system appeared. Begin the lucky draw. Lu Chongqing said without hesitation. The spinning wheel was aglow with golden brilliance as it began to turn. It then slowly came to rest on the treasure section of the lucky draw panel. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a rare treasure, Profound Origin Bead. The reward has been sent to the system space, and the host can check it at any time. A pattern of a deep blue bead, along with the system prompt, appeared. A rare treasure, the Profound Origin Bead. Seeing the reward he had drawn this time, Lu Chongqing was somewhat curious. He immediately looked towards the system space to check out what this Profound Origin Bead was. Profound Origin Bead, grade, 3rd rank, description. Born from the profound origin waters, it can absorb nature's spiritual energy on its own, store spiritual energy, and after refinement, it is like a cultivator's second chi ocean core. It allows an energy refinement late-stage cultivator to be comparable to foundation establishment, and a foundation establishment late-stage cultivator to be comparable to false core. It can absorb nature's spiritual energy on its own, and after refinement, it acts like a second chi ocean core. Late-stage energy refinement comparable to foundation establishment. Late-stage foundation establishment comparable to false core. Lu Chongqing, looking at the description of this rare treasure before him, was taken aback. He had previously thought about whether he could draw something that would quickly enhance his strength. But that was just wishful thinking, without much expectation. To his surprise, the system had now awarded him a 3rd-rank rare treasure, the Profound Origin Bead. After refinement, late-stage energy refinement would be comparable to foundation establishment. Late-stage foundation establishment comparable to false core. Such effects were truly astonishing. Chapter 2:15, Danger. I must prepare for the worst. _1, extract. Lu Chongqing's mental spirit stirred slightly as he extracted the Profound Origin Bead from the system space. Instantly, a chicken egg-sized, sapphire blue, lustrous jade bead appeared. At the same time, detailed information about this Profound Origin Bead entered Lu Chongqing's mind. This Profound Origin Bead, simply put, is like a portable battery. For chi refinement and foundation establishment cultivators, it can charge and extend endurance, also amplifying spiritual power and mana. But in the hands of a nascent soul immortal, its effects are rather average. It can only serve as a common amplifying treasure. Lu Chongqing looked at the Profound Origin Bead in his hand, muttering to himself. He had a more clear and direct understanding of the effects of this Profound Origin Bead. However, this effect is already very powerful. It's enough for me until I reach the core formation stage. Once I form my core, I can pass the Profound Origin Bead on to my children. After all, unlike the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, it's not a one-off and can be passed down through generations. A smile appeared on Lu Chongqing's face. In his view, this Profound Origin Bead was much better than the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates. Not only for individuals but also for the family and sect forces, it was an exceptional treasure. Overall, most family forces may face times of scarcity. And that's when the value of the Profound Origin Bead becomes evident. It can stabilize a family with a semblance of foundation establishment, with a semblance of a false core. I am now at the 7th level of energy refinement, and I wonder how much this profound origin bead can enhance my own abilities. Lu Chongqing did not ponder long, bit the tip of his tongue lightly, and sprayed a mouthful of blood onto the profound origin bead. In an instant, the treasure bead absorbed the blood, emitting a brilliant glow, transforming into a stream of light, and entered Lu Changsheng's body, traveling along the meridians to hover above the Qi ocean core. Immediately, Lu Changsheng sat down cross-legged, closing his eyes to refine the profound origin bead and make it perfectly compatible with himself. A month later. 3rd floor of the spiritual talisman shop. It's truly a product of the system, a 3rd-rank treasure. The amount of spiritual energy this profound origin bead can store is about 8 or 9 times what I currently have. Lu Chongqing looked inward at his dantian, gazing at the sapphire bead that had now turned into a blend of 7 colors, his face full of joy. After refining the profound origin bead, he could distinctly feel the spiritual energy inside his second dantian. Just like his own Qi lake, the spiritual energy could circulate without any hindrances. With this profound origin bead, I no longer have to worry about running out of spiritual energy. Lu Chongqing said joyfully. Then, with a subtle motion of his mental spirit, his fingers came together, and a sword light began to form. Releasing spiritual power through spells, the force is roughly tripled due to spiritual pressure. If I exert full force, this amplification could rise a few more times. Lu Chongqing gazed at the sword light in his hand, quietly sensing the changes in spiritual pressure. No wonder the profound origin bead only allows those at the energy refinement late stage to compare with foundation establishment and those at the foundation establishment late stage to compare with the false core. With this second dantian, the quantity of spiritual power I possess far exceeds that of energy refinement, almost comparing to foundation establishment. However, in terms of quality, it still cannot compare with the foundation establishment great cultivator. But my cultivation of the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture, an orthodox level cultivation technique, means my foundation of spiritual power is already far superior to cultivators of the same level. By the time I peak in energy refinement, with the support of the profound origin bead, I might not be weaker than a foundation establishment great cultivator. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly as he secretly thought. However, he also just thought about it. When he really reached the peak of energy refinement, he wouldn't rely on a treasure to attempt to challenge a foundation establishment great cultivator, who engages in battling across ranks for no reason. He wasn't the protagonist Long Outyin. And Lu Chongqing was very aware that he had a significant problem when it came to battling with spells. He had too few spells at his disposal. Aside from the 7 luminary sword light, 7 luminary sword shield, 7 luminary sword escape, he had only learned flame bullet technique and object manipulating technique, these common spells. He had neither learned nor practiced slightly more advanced offensive spells, he could only rely on talismans. This profound origin bead not only helps in battle but also aids in other areas. Now when I make talismans, I don't have to worry about the consumption of spiritual energy, just my mental spirit. Lu Chongqing said happily. He usually had to meditate to recover his spiritual energy after exhausting it while drawing talismans. But now with the profound origin bead, he didn't have to worry about depleting his spiritual energy anymore. Moreover, after depleting the spiritual energy inside the profound origin bead, it could absorb nature's spiritual energy from the surroundings to slowly recover. I wonder if it's almost time for the Immortal Sects conference. At this point, Lu Chongqing suddenly remembered that in a few months, it would be time for Qin Yun Sect's Immortal Sect assessment. He had previously promised to send Xia Zhaoyang to Qin Yun Sect for the Immortal Sect assessment. Forget it. Considering the current season, going out might be risky. It would be the same if I had Hong Yi or Fei Yu take Xia Zhaoyang there. Lu Chongqing thought it over and decided not to make the trip. Although with his current strength and means, as long as he didn't encounter a Foundation establishment great cultivator, it was unlikely anything would happen to him. But it was better to have one less matter to worry about. Immediately, Lu Chongqing wrote several letters and went to the marketplace post station to have them delivered to Rui County City. Time passed by, day after day. In the blink of an eye, another month went by. During this time, the 3 maids from White Jade Tower whom Lu Chongqing had recently taken in were all pregnant. Lu Chongqing didn't pay much attention to the 3 maids, he just let nature take its course. After all, such matters were neither urgent nor could they be hurried. If he truly wanted to engage in frenzied procreation, he had the 5 aggregates proliferation method within the yin-yang harmony technique, which could increase the probability of conception. Second Master, that Fairy Su has come back to place another talisman order. That day, as Lu Chongqing was on the 3rd floor studying the history of cultivation, the voice of shopkeeper Zhang Shan came from outside. Chapter 216, Danger. I must prepare for the worst. All right, I'll come down now. Lu Chongqing nodded when he heard this. This Fairy Su, named Su Hongyu, was a major customer of the spiritual talisman shop. She had purchased quite a few talismans from the shop over the past few months. So under such circumstances, it was necessary for him, the owner, to attend to her personally. When he arrived at the reception hall on the 1st floor, he immediately saw a woman who appeared to be in her late 20s, with a beautiful face and dressed in a simple yet elegant purple palace dress. I've seen Fairy Su before. Lu Chongqing greeted her with a smile, as warm as the spring breeze. Talisman Master Lu is here. I've come this time to place a pre-order for a batch of talismans. Su Hongyu spoke with a smile upon seeing Lu Chongqing, her voice warm and alluring. She then handed over a talisman procurement list. Clad in her simple and graceful palace dress, she looked elegant and decent, yet her every move radiated a seductive charm. No problem, it will take around half a month for the shop to prepare these talismans, Lu Chongqing said after glancing at the list. That's fine. Su Hongyu, upon hearing his response, was quite straightforward and then signed the contract and paid the deposit. After everything was settled, Fairy Su turned to Lu Chongqing, smiled gracefully, and said, Talisman Master Lu, I've come across an ancient cave dwelling left by a predecessor outside and am currently looking for a few fellow cultivators to explore it together. Would you be interested? Fairy Su's invitation honors me greatly, but I am not skilled in combat, so I will have to decline. Lu Chongqing courteously declined as soon as he heard her invitation. To be honest, this cave dwelling has certain prohibitions that are difficult to break at the moment, which is why I need to find companions for the exploration, Su Hongyu explained. But if the cultivator's cultivation level is too high, I worry they might covet the treasures for themselves. Talisman Master Lu is not of high cultivation, and being a Lu family disciple and the owner of the spiritual talisman shop, you are obviously trustworthy, which is why I sincerely invited you. Su Hongyu twisted her slender waist slightly and crossed her legs in a somewhat seductive manner as she spoke. My abilities are limited, I will not take part, but thank you for the kind offer, Fairy Su. Lu Chongqing continued to refuse. And at that moment, a sense of wariness rose in his heart. Although he had conducted business with her several times, they hadn't had much contact. The sudden invitation to explore a cave dwelling made him suspicious. Furthermore, as a man who had been through numerous battles and read countless books, Lu Chongqing could tell that the Su Hongyu before him seemed adept in bewitching techniques, aiming to seduce him with her demeanor and actions. Combining this with the recent situation of the Lu family, Lu Chongqing couldn't help but overthink. However, he didn't care about such matters. Even if it was a trap, as long as he didn't take the bait, there would be no harm. Besides, Lu Chongqing was truly uninterested in these kinds of adventures seeking ancient relics and cave dwellings. With all that idle time, he would rather go home and have a couple more kids. Not only would the system accompany the child money, but the kids could also enhance his spiritual root and strength. Since Talisman Master Lu is not interested, then I will have to look elsewhere, Su Hongyu said with a tinge of disappointment, but without insisting and still smiling. Half a month later, Zhang Shan told Lu Chongqing that Fairy Su had come again. Talisman Master Lu. Su Hongyu greeted Lu Chongqing with a smile. This time she was wearing a luxurious golden magical robe. The robe shimmered with spiritual light and was adorned with vivid and lifelike embroidery of a mythic bird. Lu Chongqing could tell at a glance that it was at least a high-quality magical robe, if not a supreme one. Regarding her behavior, however, Lu Chongqing just felt she was not right in the head. Wearing such a conspicuous garment could attract unwanted attention like a lamb ripe for the slaughter. Fairy Su, the talismans you ordered before have been prepared. Please take a look, Lu Chongqing said without any further glances, taking out a pile of talismans from his storage bag. I naturally trust Talisman Master Lu. Su Hongyu took the talismans, glanced at them, and smiled. After paying the remaining amount of spirit stones, Su Hongyu continued, I was wondering if you have any first-grade prohibition-breaking talismans here. Prohibition-breaking talismans. The prohibition-breaking talisman is a first-grade supreme talisman, very difficult to create. I'm not sure how many you need, Fairy Su, but if it's only one or two, I can request one of the family elders to draw them, Lu Chongqing replied. Prohibition-breaking talismans belong to the category of first-grade supreme talismans, their difficulty akin to second-rank talismans. Even for the fourth elder, the success rate of crafting them was not high. Yet, for Lu Chongqing, it wasn't really a problem. However, as a business transaction, he couldn't offer more than that. The more the better, Su Hongyu said. She continued with a charming smile, Talisman Master Lu, I need the prohibition-breaking talismans for the final stage of my previous cave-dwelling exploration. It's a shame Talisman Master Lu did not come along last time. Not only was it safe, but I also made quite a profit, allowing me to afford this new magical robe, Su Hongyu said, beaming. Congratulations then, Fairy Su. Lu Chongqing said, his heart remaining undisturbed as he congratulated her with a smile. He immediately added, as for the prohibition-breaking talisman, our shop can only provide one or two, anything more is truly beyond our ability. Since prohibition-breaking talismans had a low success rate, even the fourth elder couldn't make much profit from them. They were essentially crafted for the sake of the shop's reputation and were sold only in small quantities. Seeing that Lu Chongqing was still not tempted, Su Hongyu paid a deposit, chatted briefly, and then left. There's definitely something wrong, it's absolutely a trap. After Su Hongyu had left, Lu Chongqing went back to the third floor, feeling increasingly certain that Su Hongyu was up to something. She was luring him away from the marketplace. This Su Hongyu, her backers might even be the same people who tried to assassinate Sister Miaoge, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. But it's a pity that I have limited strength. Otherwise, I could follow her bait, turn the tables, and investigate the truth, he mused. Chapter 217, Danger. I must prepare for the worst. But in the end, I am just a minor chi refinement cultivator, there is no need to take risks. Time flies, and more than 2 months pass. During this time, Lu Chongqing acquired 3 more spiritual root maids from the White Jade Tower. He got 2 of them with child. As for the maids without a spiritual root, after 6 of them became pregnant, Lu Chongqing controlled himself and did not impregnate anymore. After all, there has to be some maids to do chores and take care of the children on regular days. In between, Su Hongyu also made 2 more visits. However, she did not invite Lu Chongqing to explore the cave mansion again. Instead, she expressed that she had gained a lot from the cave mansion, was very happy, and invited Lu Chongqing to a restaurant nearby to celebrate with a meal. Since he was a major client and it was within the marketplace, Lu Chongqing accepted the invitation. When the wine was 3 parts in and their faces were peach blossom-like, Su Hongyu confided to Lu Chongqing about the difficulties she faced as a loose cultivator, bringing the 2 of them closer together. The second visit was quite recent when she invited Lu Chongqing to a loose cultivator meeting. She told Lu Chongqing that apart from trading items and expanding one's connections, there was another implicit purpose to the meeting. It was for those loose cultivators who had little hope of reaching the foundation establishment stage and wanted to find a partner to start a cultivation family, to meet and socialize at such a gathering. She wished to invite Lu Chongqing to join and take part in the festivities. Even though Lu Chongqing was indeed somewhat curious and interested in the gathering. But having identified that the other party was fishing for something, naturally, Lu Chongqing would not agree and rejected the offer politely. In the end, Su Hongyu could only leave with a look of deep, unspoken grievance, as if she was looking at a faithless lover. However, the battle-hardened Lu Chongqing was unperturbed internally. Don't think he hasn't been honed by the matters of men and women over the years. However, it must be said, her appearance and figure, coupled with the seductive manner in her behavior, and the seeming willingness to express a degree of fondness, truly made her hard to refuse. It's a pity she met with the battle-hardened, wary Lu Chongqing. That day, on the third floor of the spiritual talisman shop, Lu Chongqing, who was meditating with eyes closed and surrounded by 7 fierce strands of sword qi, suddenly opened his eyes. I have finally reached the 8th level energy refinement. Lu Chongqing looked at the 7-colored Dan lake within his qi ocean core, his face revealing joy. This breakthrough came a bit faster than he had anticipated. Aside from sufficient elixir medicines, it was also due to the improvement of the spiritual root, dual cultivation, and several other reasons. My breakthrough to the 8th level energy refinement has immediately increased the limit of the profound origin bead. It truly is mysterious, Lu Chongqing thought, as he looked at the 7-colored revolving treasure bead above his dantian. Following his breakthrough in realm, the profound origin bead also evolved, gaining an enhancement. This enhancement could continue until the peak of the foundation establishment stage. That would be the limit to the amplification ability of the profound origin bead. However, at this rate, it might take 5 to 6 years to break through to the 9th level energy refinement. The next moment, Lu Chongqing shook his head, estimating his own cultivation speed. Even though this speed, for a 6th grade spiritual root, was already considered very fast. But to Lu Chongqing, it still felt a bit slow. After all, he had been in cultivation for less than 10 years. 6 days later, Lu Chongqing suddenly received a message from the second elder. Telling him to get ready, they would set off for Qingzhou Mountain in 3 days. As for the spiritual talisman shop, he had arranged for someone to take care of it temporarily. Second elder, what's going on? Lu Chongqing immediately sensed something was amiss upon hearing the second elder's words. According to the schedule, the second elder would not return for another half-month. Moreover, he had never been in such a hurry to go back. I've received a family transmission. Many Lu family disciples who were out for training have been attacked. Moreover, recently, the Qin family directly assaulted the great elder in the mining area, gravely injuring him, so the family is recalling all personnel outside back to the clan, the second elder said gravely. The Qin family has taken action. Lu Chongqing was somewhat surprised to hear this. He immediately realized that the conflict between the Qin family and the Lu family was about to erupt. This was no longer just a minor skirmish or friction. Multiple Lu family disciples were attacked, and even the great elder who was in charge of the mining area was directly severely wounded. This indicated that the Qin family was ready to face the Lu family head-on. That's right, the Qin family keeps provoking us. Although the Lu family has retaliated, it hasn't been enough to deter them. They know our ancestor is in bad shape, that's why they dare to act like this, the second elder said with a grim look. The Lu family had suffered a major loss more than a decade ago. They had yet to fully recover from that incident. This wave of attacks had killed many Lu family disciples, adding to the Lu family's troubles. After all, the continuation of the bloodline is very important for a cultivation family. Chongqing, rest assured, our Lu family has stood tall on Qingzhou Mountain for hundreds of years. We have our own heritage and do not fear the Qin family, the second elder said, as if to relieve Lu Changsheng's worries. Second elder, no matter what, Lu Chongqing, will stand or fall with the Lu family. Lu Chongqing didn't care whether the other party was trying to calm his heart. The Lu family was about to face a crisis, and he indeed could choose to hide away, living quietly in the Nine Dragons market. But his wives and children were all in the Lu family. He must return this time. Good, 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 the second elder said, looking relieved upon hearing this. It is said that time is the test of truth, and only through hardships do people's true hearts reveal themselves. Lu Chongqing had been with the Lu family for only 10 years. Now that the Lu family was facing a crisis, exhibiting such a firm stance naturally made him feel he hadn't misjudged the man, feeling extremely gratified. He then told Lu Chongqing to prepare, and that he would send someone to temporarily take charge of the spiritual talisman shop tomorrow. After the second elder left, Lu Chongqing went to the third floor to check his storage bag and to see what preparations still needed to be made. First grade middle grade spirit talismans, 200, first grade superior talismans, 156, first grade supreme talismans, 119. Second grade lower grade spirit talismans, 57, second grade middle grade spirit talismans, 8. Chapter 218, Danger. I must prepare for the worst. _4, a second rank puppet, 2 first grade, middle grade puppets, and 4 first grade, lower grade puppets. 3 Yin Thunderchild pellets, 1 set of black blood needles. 2 bottles of top grade first rank healing medicine. A bottle of burst chi elixir, which can immediately restore half of the spiritual power and also increase the cultivation level upon consumption. A bottle of spiritual divine elixir, taking it clears the mind and strengthens the mental spirit. As for magic artifacts, 2 top-grade items, and 5 superior-grade items, there seemed to be nothing else to supplement. Lu Chongqing took inventory of his stock, pondering what else he might need to prepare. But after a moment's thought, it seemed there was nothing else to supplement. In terms of talismans, I have drawn them according to my needs, for attack, defense, trapping enemies, escaping, and healing, all are ready. With the spiritual divine elixir as a supplement, it's no problem to temporarily enhance my mental spirit and throw out a few hundred talismans if necessary. Moreover, now at the 8th level energy refinement, with the profound origin bead, I dare not say I'm comparable to Foundation Establishment, but it wouldn't be an overstatement to claim invincibility below Foundation Establishment. Also, with the profound origin bead, if I fully exert the power of the golden light brick talisman treasure, I can unleash 70 to 80% of its power, which even a normal Foundation Establishment cultivator might not withstand. Lu Chongqing estimated his situation, feeling that even facing a Foundation Establishment great cultivator would not be a big problem. However, from beginning to end, he never worried about himself. What he always considered was how to ensure his wives and children were safe in times of danger. If Lu family is indeed breached, at that time, with a second-rank puppet by my side, a talisman treasure in one hand, and a stack of second-rank talismans in the other, even Foundation builders would probably make way. After all, without deep hatred and enmity, who would be willing to fight to the death? Lu Chongqing thought to himself. What a pity I have never seen Ancestor Qin, otherwise, I could have dealt with him directly using the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates. However, the current situation of the Lu family isn't something that can be resolved by killing just Ancestor Qin. The problem lies within the Lu family itself. Even without the Qin family, the Yu family, the Bai family, and the Jing family, as well as other cultivation families, would take action. After all, in the cultivation world, weakness is the original sin. Without strength, one simply can't protect a spiritual vein-blessed land. Lu Chongqing shook his head. He knew that even if Ancestor Qin died, it would not signify that the crisis of the Lu family had been resolved. In the end, the crisis of the Lu family stemmed from the imminent death of the Lu family ancestor. And because the Lu family had not produced a new foundation establishment great cultivator. It has been almost 2 years since Lu Yuanshan came back from the Purple Shadow secret realm. But for so long, there has been no reaction from the Lu family, no birth of a new foundation establishment great cultivator. Did they come back with nothing, or did the final breakthrough fail? Lu Chongqing murmured to himself. For an average cultivator, even with both foundation establishment elixirs and foundation establishment spirit objects, the chances of breakthrough are at most 50 to 60%. But how many people can gather both foundation establishment elixir and foundation establishment spirit objects? Most loose cultivators rely on 1 or 2 foundation establishment spirit objects. Many even take the risk without anything, gambling on a slim chance of breaking through. A cultivation family like the Lu family might have some foundation, but they can only guarantee 2 or 3 foundation establishment spirit objects. It's meaningless to keep worrying about a new foundation establishment for the Lu family now. I must prepare for the worst scenario. Lu Chongqing did not dwell on this matter. He began to simulate scenarios in his mind. If the Lu family ancestor died and a foundation establishment great cultivator came to kill, how he would respond with his wives and children. Whether to bring out the talisman treasure immediately or let the puppets engage in combat while he supported with talismans. Or whether, when he brought out the talisman treasure, if he simultaneously unleashed the power of his nurtured treasure bones, would there be a chance to directly slay a foundation builder? Lu Chongqing continually simulated and contemplated. Unfortunately, no one knew Lu Changsheng's thoughts at that time. Otherwise, they would be utterly dumbfounded and overwhelmingly shocked, thinking that he seemed to be preparing to eliminate someone else's family. Otherwise, why would he go to such lengths? Most cultivators seek benefits, who would fight a life-and-death battle without good reason. After all, isn't the purpose of cultivation to live well and more freely? Chapter 219, Lu Chongqing, do you know what happened to my sister? 3 days later. Lu Chongqing took the flying boat of the second elder from 9 Dragons Market back to Qingzhou Mountain. This time, Lu Chongqing didn't bring Shao Qing. One reason was that, compared to Qingzhou Mountain, 9 Dragons Market was now much safer. Another was that the flying boat simply couldn't accommodate any more passengers. Not only was it filled with people, but there was also someone riding an iron feather eagle alongside the boat. Lu Chongqing, do you know what's wrong with my sister? The last time I saw her, I felt that something was odd. Lu Miaohuan was also on the flying boat and inquired of Lu Chongqing through a transmitted message. What seemed odd? Lu Chongqing asked, keeping a straight face when he heard this. I'm not sure. I just felt that she has been acting strange since she got hurt last time. Lu Miaohuan wrinkled her nose, unable to specify what exactly was off. But as a sister, she could sense the changes in her older sister. Then, out of curiosity, she asked, by the way, Lu Chongqing, how did you treat my sister's injuries? I heard that she was seriously injured, at death's door. I happened to come across a life-saving elixir medicine before, and the Chongqun technique I practice is somewhat helpful in healing injuries, so I barely managed to stabilize Miss' condition. Lu Chongqing said without so much as flushing or skipping a heartbeat. This was the story he and Lu Miaoge agreed upon. Moreover, long ago he had announced that he had switched to practicing the Chongqun technique. Given that he had always maintained the appearance of being in his 20s, and with so many wives and concubines, constantly fathering children, it was quite normal for him to choose a cultivation technique that extended his life. Hearing this, Lu Miaohuan didn't think much of it. She continued to talk with Lu Chongqing about various everyday matters and mentioned the current situation of the Lu family. Lu Chongqing had nothing better to do and engaged in casual conversation with the second Mississippi. The spirit boat flew swiftly across the sky. Just then, abruptly, whoosh, 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 4 streaks of light soared into the sky, cutting through the air and shooting toward them. 3 of them blocked the path of the flying boat. One aimed for the iron feather eagle beside it. This is bad. The second elder's face changed dramatically as he saw this, and he shouted angrily. He stimulated the flying boat's defensive array, creating a thick, earthy yellow light barrier. And he also brought out a blue triangular flag which buzzed and produced a light blue watery light barrier, enveloping the flying boat directly. Screech! However, the iron feather eagle, unable to avoid the streaks of light, let out a mournful cry. Blood splattered from its belly, and its wings flapped chaotically. This caused Lu Yuanhua, who was riding on the eagle, to pale. A jade bamboo staff appeared in the second elder's hands as he swept up Lu Yuanhua onto the flying boat, his face grave as he shouted loudly. Who are you rogues, daring to ambush the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain? His voice was cold and sonorous, dripping with authority. On this return trip, he had been vigilant the entire time. And although he had changed the original route, they still encountered an ambush. It's precisely the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain that we are ambushing. Let's end this quickly. For masked figures, maneuvering their flying artifacts, said in raspy voices. They immediately drove their artifacts, casting spells and talismans, attacking the flying boat. Yuanhua, you take control of the flying boat and hurry back to Qingzhou Mountain with everyone. Leave this to me. The second elder quickly instructed the Lu family manager. He then took out another flying artifact, stepped off the flying boat, and crushed a talisman, turning it into a golden light barrier around his body, wielding the bamboo staff to intercept the 4 assailants. All right. Lu Yuanhua promptly took over control of the flying boat without further words. He could tell at a glance that the 4 robber cultivators had come prepared. All possessing the strength of the energy refinement late stage. And among their group, aside from the second elder, only he was at the 7th level of energy refinement. The rest only possessed middle stage energy refinement strength. In such a situation, their side was clearly at a disadvantage. Second elder, take care. After Lu Yuanhua took control of the flying boat, he immediately steered it, carrying everyone, and flew swiftly towards Qingzhou Mountain. I'll hold them off. You 3 take the flying boat and quickly kill those Lu family youngsters, especially that Lu family talisman master. One of the 4 masked figures, the apparent leader with a raspy voice, instructed. He then charged at the second elder, Lu Yunhan. I'm eager to see how you're going to stop us. You know me, but who sent you here? The second elder's face was grim as he cast a green rainbow light from his jade bamboo staff, attempting to hold back the 4. But the speaking masked figure also slapped a giant palm, summoning a red pearl, with fiery light swirling around it. A fierce wind then arose, with flames engulfing the second elder. Seeing this, the other 3 masked figures immediately brought out a flying boat. They then boarded the flying boat and chased after Lu Chongqing and the others. Damn it! The second elder, recognizing the dire situation that they were fully prepared for the ambush, knew their target was the younger generation. But at that moment, he had no way to protect everyone and could only watch unwillingly as the pursuers chased after his family's flying boat. Could these 4 be the same 4 robber cultivators who previously ambushed Sister Miaoge? Lu Chongqing thought about what Lu Miaoge had said, that her severe injuries were caused by an ambush by 4 robber cultivators. Now, there were also 4 assailants who clearly came prepared for the Lu family, which made him suspect a connection. However, whether they were the same 4 or not, at the very least, the situation now looked unfavorable from Lu Changsheng's perspective. On the flying boat were 7 people, apart from Lu Yuanhua who was at the 7th level of energy refinement. The other Lu family disciples were just at middle stage of energy refinement. With 1,000 li yet to Qingzhou Mountain, it seemed difficult for them to reach safety under the pursuit of 3 late-stage energy refinement cultivators. Boom, boom, boom. Chapter 220, Lu Chongqing, do you know what happened to my sister? 3 masked figures in a flying boat pursued relentlessly. 2 of them commanded magic artifacts, unleashing spells, and bombarded the barrier of the flying boat steered by Lu Yuanhua, causing the boat's defensive light shield to dim gradually. This kind of flying boat was just an ordinary one, used for traveling, and it did not have strong defenses. No, if this continues, the flying boat simply won't hold up. Miaofing, Miaoqing, you guys take turns controlling the boat, it'll draw one of them away. Seeing the situation, Lu Yuanhua's expression changed and he said through gritted teeth. Uncle Yuanhua, let me do it. I've got talismans from the 4th elder, and I might be able to use them to escape later. Lu Chongqing also spoke up. With so many people around right now, he couldn't conveniently reveal his true power. But once he got to a secluded place, he would have no such concerns. Just as long as he could draw one person away, with Lu Yuanhua present, the crisis for the Lu family members would be resolved. No, Chongqing, you're our Lu family's talisman master, you absolutely must not take risks. Hearing this, Lu Yuanhua didn't even think before he immediately rejected the idea. They obviously came prepared, targeting our Lu family. If you, Uncle Yuanhua, were to leave, returning to Qingzhou Mountain in the flying boat would be difficult. Moreover, even if you draw one away, facing 2 at the energy refinement late stage, we still might not be able to safely return to Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Chongqing said quickly. In his opinion, it would be simpler to draw the enemy away now than revealing his strength later when they were cornered. Uncle Yuanhua, Chongqing makes sense, but Chongqing, you can't take the risk either. Let me do it. At this moment, Lu Miaoqing bit his lip and stood up. Lu Chongqing was speechless. He offered to go out because he was confident in his own strength. You going out would be outright suicide. Probably couldn't even manage to draw them away. However, Lu Miaoqing stepping forward at this time made him see him in a new light. Brother Cheng, if you go, you're just marching to your death. I've already broken through to the 6th level energy refinement a few days ago, and I have a flying artifact that allows for a brief flight. Don't argue with me about this. Lu Chongqing didn't want to waste any more time. He slapped his storage bag and a stack of talismans appeared in his hand, at least 50 or 60 of them. He handed half of them to Lu Miaohuan who was beside him and said, Miss Miaohuan, keep these talismans for self-defense. After speaking, he activated a golden light barrier talisman and a wind-commanding charm on himself, threw out the flying artifact, and jumped off the flying boat. Chongqing. Lu Chongqing. Chongqing, come back. Lu Yuanhua, Lu Miaohuan, and the others watched the scene with shock and alarm, calling out loudly, not expecting Lu Chongqing to be so decisive. Go, don't waste time. Lu Chongqing stood atop the circular flying artifact, his green robe billowing, enveloped by a layer of golden light, and without looking back, he shouted loudly. Then he activated a dozen or so talismans, which transformed into wind blades, cold winds, fire clouds, and vine tendrils that rolled menacingly toward the pursuing flying boat. Since he needed to draw one away, he had to stir up some enmity. Otherwise, if the enemy didn't send anyone to chase him, it would be quite embarrassing. Hearing Lu Changsheng's words and seeing his actions, Lu Yuanhua, Lu Miaoqing, Lu Miaohuan, and the others were moved beyond words. They felt as if the figure of Lu Chongqing in front of them was growing taller and larger. Especially Lu Miaohuan, who looked at Lu Changsheng's tall and lean silhouette and at the talismans in her hands, felt a lump in her throat. She had never expected the usually amiable, and even somewhat timid and cowardly Lu Chongqing, to be so brave at such a moment, making a sacrifice of himself. And before doing so, he had given them half of the life-saving talismans. Go! Seeing Lu Changsheng's actions, Lu Yuanhua knew that now was not the time to hesitate or delay. Their only course of action was to hurry back and call for help. He steered the flying boat with all his might, escaping towards Qingzhou Mountain. In his heart, he could only hope that Lu Chongqing would survive with the help of the talismans. Lu Chongqing. You've chosen to leap into hell when you could have taken the road to heaven. Little do you know that our main target this time is none other than you. The three men chasing in the flying boat were pleasantly surprised to see Lu Chongqing voluntarily jump from the flying boat. Their mission was mainly to assassinate Lu Chongqing, the Lu family's talisman master. Only after him would come the other Lu family disciples. Now seeing Lu Chongqing jumping from the boat, actively provoking them, they immediately felt elated. Let's kill him. After the masked figures defended against the talisman attacks, they immediately steered the flying boat, chasing after Lu Chongqing. This is bad, they're directly going after Lu Chongqing. Lu Miaohuan, seeing this scene, exclaimed with a sudden change in expression. If one person chased after Lu Chongqing, he might stand a chance with the talismans, but now, all three were abandoning the pursuit of the others to go for Lu Chongqing, which put him in an almost certain death situation. Their main target is Chongqing, the talisman master. It must be the Qin family, only the Qin family would target our Lu family like this. Lu Yuanhua looked in the direction where Lu Chongqing was escaping, his face very grim, and he said through clenched teeth. But in this situation, they were completely helpless to assist. Even if he went now, it would just mean his death. Lu Chongqing with all his spiritual power, propelled the flying artifact to its limits, streaking through the sky like a shooting star, zipping through the mountains below. After all, being in the air made him an easy target and was all too conspicuous. In this desolate mountain range, it was perfect for killing and hiding a body. Ha! They've all come after me. So their main target is me, or am I just a higher priority than the others? Lu Chongqing looked back at the flying boat behind him and was slightly surprised. He hadn't expected all three robber cultivators to give up chasing the others and come after him instead. Chapter 221, Lu Chongqing, do you know what happened to my sister? However, this is also good, it makes dealing with him easy, Lu Chongqing thought calmly to himself. How is this brat flying so quickly? He's using a talisman, and he's fully activating his magic artifact with his spiritual power. It won't be long before he completely exhausts his spirit power. He must have life-saving talismans on him, we can't let him get away. Having seen the situation, the three masked individuals put away their flying boat. They each controlled their flying artifacts, formed spiritual arts with their hands, and chased after Lu Chongqing with all their might. After a short while, Lu Chongqing entered the mountain range and slowed down. Kid, keep running, why have you stopped? You've got guts, luring us away alone for the sake of others. I heard you're just the Lu family's son-in-law. I didn't expect you to be so loyal to the Lu family, sacrificing yourself for others. The three, seeing Lu Chongqing slowing down, quickly surrounded him and mocked. In their eyes, Lu Chongqing was now trapped with no escape. They were not in a hurry to kill Lu Chongqing. Sigh, I didn't expect you to hold me in such high regard, coming after me in full force, Lu Chongqing said with a bitter smile to the three individuals. Then he inquired, Gentlemen, as I am facing death, may I ask you a question? Was it also you who attempted to assassinate Lu Miaoge before? Lu Miaoge, you're talking about the young girl from the Lu family. Yes, that was us, one of the masked men said directly. It's just that girl was hit by our leader's black fiend slash, her life force was nearly extinguished, yet she didn't die. I heard you saved her. How did you manage that? That's right, considering your talent as a talisman master, if you're willing to surrender peacefully, we might give you a chance to live, the other two said. How did I do it? It's simple, because, Lu Chongqing started with a bitter smile. Mid-sentence, his eyes suddenly sharpened, and he pointed his finger. A seven-colored light burst from his fingertip. With a whoosh, a fierce sword light shot out, heading straight for the forehead of the man in front. Not good. The three were startled in that moment. The man targeted by the sword light, seeing the fierce sword beam before him, had his mental spirit tremble violently. Before he could react, a bloody hole appeared in his forehead, and his consciousness disappeared. Then, with a thud, he fell from his flying artifact. "Do you understand the reason now?" Lu Chongqing asked the other two, who were in shock and fear. However, just as the words left his mouth, two even larger sword beams from the seven luminary sword erupted and slashed out, chilling to the spine. The two immediately raised body-protecting chi barriers around themselves and activated their magic artifacts, trying to defend. But to the seven luminary sword beams, these chi barriers were like paper, instantly shattered and pierced through. Ah! No, one had their brain pierced, another beheaded, both died instantly, thud falling to the ground. Unknowingly, my strength has reached this point, Lu Chongqing observed the three dead bodies, feeling a touch of joy and exhilaration in his usually calm heart. After all, this was the first time he had killed an enemy relying on his own strength and not on talismans or talisman treasures. Of course, the assistance of treasures like the profound origin bead was also considered part of his strength. One benefit of using the seven luminary sword beam is that it doesn't damage the magic artifacts on the person, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He then collected the three individuals' magic artifacts and storage bags. He ignited 3 fireballs, reducing the bodies to ashes, and after a simple cleanup of the battlefield, quickly left. He soon found a cave and began to sort through their storage bags. You. Could these people be backed by the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain? While sorting through the storage bags and coming across a token from the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain, Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly. Is it actually the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain, or is someone trying to frame them? He wondered to himself. He felt the likelihood of framing was low. But if the Yu family of Bai Lake Mountain had sent people, they probably would not carry such a token. And this kind of token could not prove it was the Yu family's people, it just showed a connection to the Yu family. Without much thought, Lu Chongqing destroyed the token. After all, such a token could have markers. And it was useless to him. He surely couldn't go to the Yu family with several tokens in hand to accuse them of wrongdoing. In the cultivation world, justice was not about right or wrong. It was about strength, with no need for evidence. Moments later, Lu Chongqing finished sorting through the storage bags. He had gained a total of 867 spirit stones, 4 high-grade magic artifacts, 6 middle-grade magic artifacts, a flying boat, several elixir medicines, a number of talismans, various spiritual medicines, and then some miscellaneous materials. This haul of spirit stones and magic artifacts is a bit less, but the biggest gain this time is this flying boat. This flying boat is worth at least 1,000 or 2,000 spirit stones. But if it really is people from the Yu family, then I can't reveal this flying boat easily, it's best to dispose of it. After sorting, Lu Chongqing thought to himself. He then looked at his immaculate, spotless magical robe and after a brief contemplation, made a few tears in his robe that he had worn for 5 or 6 years. After all, he had narrowly escaped from the hands of 3 individuals at the energy refinement late stage, and such a neat appearance did not seem consistent with his ordeal. I should return in 3 or 4 days, otherwise, if I go back now, it would be a bit hard to explain. Lu Chongqing considered. He planned to add some marks of battle damage to his robe before going back. Then Lu Chongqing started to meditate to recover his spiritual power. His full use of the flying artifact and the release of 3 7 luminary sword beams had been a significant expenditure. He had used up half of his spiritual power. If not for the support of the profound origin bead, he would never have used his spiritual power so recklessly. Chapter 222, Sister, Lu Chongqing is dead. _1 Qingzhou Mountain. Inside a grand hall. What, you say you were ambushed on your way back? The second elder was intercepted, and Chongqing, in order to lure the enemies away, was chased by 3 robber cultivators and now his whereabouts are unknown. Lu Yuanding's expression darkened instantly upon hearing his daughter Lu Miaohuan's words. Yes, father, at that time, we were being chased by 3 energy refinement late-stage robber cultivators. Uncle Yuanhua tried to lead them away, but Chongqing, to ensure our safe escape, voluntarily left the flying boat, attempting to draw one away by himself. But in the end, all 3 robber cultivators went after Lu Chongqing. Lu Miaohuan said, her eyes red and her voice choked with emotion. All this time, the image of Lu Chongqing stepping off the flying boat and standing on the magic artifact to lead the robber cultivators away kept reappearing in her mind. Regret and self-blame gnawed at her. Why hadn't she held on to Lu Chongqing then? After all, being chased by 3 robber cultivators was certainly a death sentence. Family head, this is all my fault. I failed to protect Chongqing. I am willing to accept punishment, said Lu Yuanhua, his face filled with self-reproach. The importance of Lu Chongqing to the Lu family was now self-evident. As long as he continued to grow, he would be one of the core pillars of the Lu family in the future. But now, such a pillar of the future had been sacrificed because of them. This filled him with immense guilt and self-blame. Sigh. Lu Yuanding let out a heavy sigh, his heart weighed down with sorrow. He never expected such an unexpected event to occur. If Lu Chongqing really had an accident, it would not only be a great loss to the Lu family. He also wouldn't know how to face the 4th elder. The ancestor once said, Lu Chongqing is a man of great destiny. I hope he can turn calamity into blessing this time. Lu Yuanding could only hope so in his heart. But the thought of Lu Chongqing being pursued by 3 robber cultivators made his mood even heavier. The prospect of Lu Chongqing turning calamity into blessing, of escaping death, seemed incredibly slim. The matter of punishment can be set aside for now. The urgent task at hand is to retrieve and rescue the 2nd elder and search for Lu Chongqing. Looking at his daughter with reddened eyes, her face full of sadness and grief, Lu Yuanding sighed softly and then turned to Lu Yuanhua and said this. He then told his daughter and the other Lu family disciples to rest and not to spread the news. He and Lu Yuanhua quickly left the grand hall. Lu Miaohuan, her eyes red, returned to the backyard of her family home with a grief-stricken and despondent face and sat down by the stone table, staring blankly into space. She couldn't help but recall Lu Changsheng's appearance and silhouette in her mind. Their playful bickering, the joy, every little moment shared. Though the time the two had spent together wasn't long, when she reminisced, those moments kept revolving in her head. The sadness, self-reproach, and other emotions in her heart began to ferment, making Lu Changsheng's image in her heart become ever more vivid. Lu Chongqing, she whispered his name softly. She felt an emptiness inside. She realized what it meant to only cherish something when it's lost. Huan, you're back. What's wrong? At this moment, Lu Miaoge returned from visiting the 4th elder. Seeing her sister's sorrowful and distraught state in the yard, she immediately approached her with concern. Sister, Lu Chongqing is dead, woo. As Lu Miaohuan, mired in her memories, saw her sister appear, all the emotions churning in her heart exploded in that moment. She hugged her sister tightly, her voice filled with grievance as she spoke. Tears streamed down her face as she cried. What? Lu Miaoge, hearing her sister's words, felt as if struck by lightning, her delicate body shaking violently, frozen in shock. Her beautiful face turned pale. She looked at her sister in disbelief and said, Huan, what are you saying? You're saying Chongqing is dead. Woo, he sacrificed himself to protect us. Lu Miaohuan cried out loudly. She had already convinced herself that Lu Changsheng's death was certain. Hearing this, Lu Miaoge looked at her sister's sorrowful state, her heart also filled with grief, as if cut by knives. Huan, don't cry, tell me what happened? Chongqing, how could Chongqing die? Lu Miaoge soothed her sister, her lips quivering as she asked shakily. She couldn't believe this was true. That Lu Chongqing could just die like that. Memories of him also started resurfacing in her mind, meeting Lu Chongqing through the testing of talisman-making skills, then constantly hearing about his progress in the talisman path and remembering him. Later, studying talisman making with him at the Fourth Elder's place, working together at the Nine Dragons Marketplace. She had witnessed Lu Changsheng's progress and growth all along. And not long ago, their relationship had taken another step further, with the reality of a marital connection. But now, her sister was telling her that Lu Chongqing was dead. Lu Miaoge simply couldn't believe it, couldn't accept this terrible news. On our way back, Lu Miaohuan began, her voice choked with sobs, narrating the events that had happened during their return. For masked robber cultivators attacked us, Chongqing lured the robber cultivators away and ended up being chased by 3 of them. When Lu Miaoge heard that Lu Chongqing wasn't confirmed dead, the anxiety that had caught in her throat eased somewhat, but her heart still sunk to the depths. She knew these 4 robber cultivators, bold enough to ambush the Second Elder's flying boat, were no ordinary foes. They might even be the same 4 who had ambushed her before. Under such circumstances, for Lu Chongqing to escape unscathed from 3 robber cultivators was nearly impossible. Huan, don't cry, Chongqing has a destiny protected by heaven, and he won't come to harm, Lu Miaoge bit her lip, consoling her sister. Chapter 223, Sister, Lu Chongqing is dead. At the same time, she was also comforting herself. Because she knew Lu Chongqing had some secrets. He was not as simple as he seemed on the surface. Especially since the time Lu Chongqing rescued her and they practiced dual cultivation together, she knew that Lu Changsheng's strength was not just breaking through to the 6th level energy refinement as Lu Miaohuan had said. He had most likely broken through to the 7th level energy refinement. Yet even at the 7th level energy refinement, facing 3 robber cultivators was more likely to be perilous than not. When she encountered those 4 robber cultivators, if she hadn't relied on her protective magic artifact and talismans, as well as being close to Nine Dragons Market, she would not have been able to escape at all. Moreover, if it hadn't been for Lu Changsheng's rescue at the time, she would have been on a path to certain death. Thinking of these things, waves of sadness and discomfort surged in her heart again. Even if Lu Chongqing had just broken through to the 6th level energy refinement, he never fought with anyone before and even gave half of his talismans to us for self-defense, sob. Lu Miaohuan thought of the moment Lu Chongqing went down the flying boat and gave her half of the talismans, and her heart ached even more. She looked at them, and although most of those talismans were middle grade, there were also several superior grade talismans among them. She knew these talismans must have been Lu Changsheng's own life-saving talismans for self-defense. Yet in such a dangerous moment, he not only lured the enemies away but also divided half of his life-saving talismans between them. If it weren't for my return to Qingzhou Mountain, making Chongqing stay at the Spirit Talisman shop, Chongqing wouldn't have encountered danger. Hearing her younger sister's tearful words, Lu Miaoge too was touched. A sense of self-reproach grew in her heart. She felt that if it weren't for her, Lu Chongqing would have returned to Qingzhou Mountain last time. Then he would not have met with this ambush, and this incident wouldn't have happened. Chongqing, you must come back alive, Lu Miaoge silently prayed in her heart, unwilling to believe the news of Lu Changsheng's death. Seeing her younger sister's grief-stricken and heartbroken look, Lu Miaoge sighed deeply in her heart. She had always known that her younger sister had a certain fondness for Lu Chongqing. But she had not expected that her sister's affection for Lu Chongqing had reached such an extent. If before, Wan Huan's feelings for Chongqing were just liking and fondness, but many times, memories can beautify a person. Now, having gone through such an event, the affection, fondness, and sorrow in Wan Huan's heart keep fermenting. I'm afraid she'll never be able to forget Chongqing now. Lu Miaoge knew her sister's temperament very well. She also knew that after this event, her sister could never forget Lu Chongqing. Thinking of her own complicated fate with Lu Chongqing, and now her sister's as well, she couldn't help but sigh. But thinking of the uncertainty surrounding Lu Changsheng's life or death, Lu Miaoge didn't dwell on it further. She merely hoped that Lu Chongqing could come back safely. It's okay, Chongqing will definitely come back, he must. Lu Miaoge softly comforted her sister, her voice trembling slightly, but with a touch of firmness. She always felt that Lu Chongqing wouldn't die so easily. As long as Lu Changsheng's body wasn't seen, she refused to believe that he was dead. At the same time, the residence of the fourth elder. Chongqing went to draw away the robber cultivators, making 3 late-stage energy refinement robber cultivators pursue him. Upon hearing the words of Lu Yuanding and Lu Yuanhua, the fourth elder's face also changed drastically. Having dealt with Lu Chongqing so much, she naturally knew that her son-in-law wasn't as simple as he appeared. He possessed some unknown opportunities and secrets. The Lu family ancestor had also said that Lu Chongqing was a bearer of great destiny. Therefore, she knew that Lu Chongqing dared to do so, drawing away a robber cultivator, because he certainly had confidence. He believed he could escape from the hands of a late-stage energy refinement robber cultivator. But now Lu Yuanhua was saying that 3 robber cultivators went directly after Lu Chongqing, which weighed heavily on her mind and filled her with worry. The most urgent task now is to send people to assist the second elder. I will go to see the ancestor to see if there's a way to find Changsheng's whereabouts. After all, the fourth elder was someone who had lived through many trials and tribulations. Without dwelling on it or wasting emotions, she quickly calmed down, spoke out, and began discussing how to address the situation. Chongqing, if something happens to you, how will I explain to Miaoyun? After Lu Yuanding and Lu Yuanhua left, the fourth elder sighed deeply as well. She temporarily decided not to inform her granddaughter about this news to avoid causing her worry. She then went to the depths of Qingzhou Valley to meet with the Lu family ancestor, to see if there was any way to determine Lu Changsheng's situation. 2 days later. What? Chongqing lured the robber cultivators away and is now missing. How could you let Chongqing do such a risky thing? The second elder, having met with the Lu family members, reacted with anger upon hearing about Lu Chongqing, his face showing disapproval as he glared at Lu Yuanhua. Before this, he had not fully accepted Lu Chongqing. He felt that time was needed to observe whether Lu Chongqing could fully integrate into the Lu family. But after Lu Chongqing refused the Yu family's invitation and saved Lu Miaoge, and now facing a crisis with the Lu family, and having firmly stated his intent to share fate with the Lu family, he had come to accept Lu Chongqing completely, as one of their own. But now, Lu Yuanhua was saying, Lu Chongqing lured away the robber cultivators and was missing, which outraged him. Second elder. Lu Yuanhua bowed guiltily with clasped hands. Have you found any clues to Chongqing? The second elder asked in a grave voice. No, we have already searched the area where Chongqing lured away the robber cultivators, and there are no signs of battle. So there are only 2 possibilities. Lu Yuanhua spoke out. No signs of battle meant there was no intense confrontation, and the battle ended very quickly. So there were only 2 possibilities. Either Lu Chongqing escaped directly. Chapter 224, Sister, Lu Chongqing is dead. Either Lu Chongqing was easily slain and captured by the 3 people, or facing 3 cultivators at the energy refinement late stage, they all inevitably considered the latter possibility more likely. Has the Patriarch been informed of this matter? Thinking of the Patriarch's once favorable opinion of Lu Chongqing, the second elder inquired. The fourth elder went to see the Patriarch, but Chongqing had no token on him and had been subjected to soul-tracking methods, so the Patriarch could not sense Changsheng's situation, Lu Yuanhua said with bitterness. For a cultivation family like the Lu family, there were no such things as soul lamps or identity jades to determine life and death. Only a few core disciples would have soul-tracking charms and tokens left by the family elder, to prevent any accidents. Search, continue the search, expand the search area. Send a message as soon as there is news. After a moment of silence, the second elder spoke directly. At the same time, inside a cave, about time to head back, otherwise Miaoyun and the others, seeing the second elder and the rest returning but not me, would probably start to worry. Lu Chongqing, after laying low for 2 days, looked at the sky outside and felt it was almost time. He then added some signs of battle damage to himself. Afterward, he walked out of the cave, released his iron feather eagle from the storage bag, and flew towards Qingzhou Mountain. A day later, Lu Chongqing, riding on the iron feather eagle, landed outside Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Chongqing, you're back, are you alright? At the gate, an elder of the Lu family saw Lu Chongqing and immediately exclaimed with joy. Sizing up Lu Chongqing and seeing no serious injuries, the elder also let out a sigh of relief. Yes, I'm fine. I hid for 2 days after escaping the pursuit, which is why I'm only returning now, Lu Chongqing responded. Good. It's good that you're back. Good that you're back. The family has sent people out to look for you. I will send a message now to call them back, the family elder stated, nodding. Lu Yuanding had instructed before to send a message as soon as Lu Chongqing returned. I've made the family worry. I will go home and report that I'm safe. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongqing immediately said. He knew his actions would surely cause concern to the Lu family. Moreover, his wives and concubines, knowing that others from the 9 Dragons market had returned and he had not, would surely worry as well. Thinking of his year-long absence from home, he longed deeply for his wives, concubines, and children. Good. Go on. Seeing Lu Chongqing only suffered minor wounds and no serious harm, the family elder didn't say much more. Lu Chongqing nodded, and upon entering Qingzhou Mountain, he promptly headed straight for his home. Along the way, he vaguely observed that the Lu family was on high alert, with notably more family disciples patrolling. Greeting several Lu family disciples on the road informed Lu Chongqing that only a small number of people knew about the danger he had encountered. Before long, Lu Chongqing entered Qingzhou Valley and arrived at his estate. Husband is back. Daddy. Look, Daddy is back. Just as Lu Chongqing entered, his wives and concubines who were with the children in the yard rushed over to greet him with surprised joy. Husband, what happened to you? Why is your magical robe damaged? One of his wives immediately noticed the damage on Lu Changsheng's magical robe and expressed concern. Seeing the expressions of his wives and concubines, Lu Chongqing instantly knew. Lu family did not mention to their wives about what happened on the way home. Therefore, their wives were unaware of the chase and attempted murder by the robber cultivator. I encountered a slight mishap on the road, nothing serious, said Lu Chongqing immediately, waving his hand dismissively. He did not want to cause his wives to worry. He quickly went to the side hall, changed his clothes, and accompanied his wives and children to the backyard. To visit the other wives and children. My lord, you're back. Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and the other ladies in the backyard were overjoyed upon seeing Lu Chongqing. They put down the children and rushed towards Lu Chongqing with delighted faces, embracing him. Hee, have you missed your husband? Lu Chongqing gathered the 2 petite wives into his arms. Yes. Lu Miaoyun's eyes were full of tender affection as she spoke. Chu Xinjin, who had become less shy than before, clung tightly to Lu Chongqing and said in a soft, sweet voice. Your husband has missed you too, said Lu Chongqing gently. After hugging the 2 women warmly for a while, he did not neglect any of his wives or concubines. He showed care to every single one of them, then turned his attention to the children. But now, with so many children, he was honestly confused. He could not immediately recognize who was who. Especially since he had been away for a year. All the children that were in their mothers' bellies had been born. There were 11 children whom he had not yet seen or held. Next, Lu Chongqing looked at these children and named the 11 new ones. He then started chatting with his wives about old times, mentioning his experiences in 9 Dragons Market, and listening to his wives share the little things about family and life. And just at that moment, a startled and delightful voice reached them. Lu Chongqing. They saw a young woman who looked to be around 18 or 19 years old, with delicate features, a stunning face, an elegant figure, dressed in a black and gold figure-hugging dress, staring at Lu Chongqing. She then rushed towards Lu Chongqing with a surprised and delighted face. Lu Chongqing gazed at the excited young lady rushing toward him and was slightly taken aback. He wasn't sure why this young lady was so excited today. Still, he instinctively opened his arms. Suddenly, he was enveloped in a fragrant breeze and a tender embrace. What's going on here? Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and other ladies chatting with Lu Chongqing were taken aback by the scene, left in a daze. Confused, they didn't understand how Lu Miaohuan suddenly arrived in their home, bursting so excitedly and eagerly into the arms of their husband. Watching Lu Miaohuan, who was joyfully clinging to their husband, Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and the others exchanged perplexed glances, not knowing what to say. Not far off, Lu Miaoge, who had arrived with Lu Miaohuan, showed a helpless expression on her face. She had not expected her sister to act in such a manner in public, and in front of Lu Changsheng's other wives no less. But she could understand her sister's feelings. Hers had been a few days filled with restlessness, unable to eat or drink properly. Just hearing about Lu Changsheng's return had made her thrilled, insisting on coming over. Lu Miaoge, watching Lu Miaohuan embracing Lu Chongqing, gently pursed her lips, her eyes filled with soft joy, but her emotions were somewhat mixed. P.S. There will be a second chapter, but it will be very late, so everyone doesn't need to wait. Chapter 225. Don't let the riches flow into others' fields. _1 Lu Miaohuan embraced Lu Chongqing for a moment before immediately snapping back to reality. Only then did she remember she was in Lu Changsheng's home. And there were so many people watching. Moreover, these people were all Lu Changsheng's wives and concubines. She had actually thrown herself into Lu Changsheng's arms in front of his wives and concubines. Even though Lu Miaohuan was usually bold and carefree, indifferent to others' gazes, at that moment she couldn't help but blush profusely, covering her face as she ran off. Lu Chongqing watched Lu Miaohuan hurry away, caught off guard. Soon after, he shook his head and smiled wryly. He also roughly understood what was going on. She must have thought he was in grave danger when he went to lure away the robber cultivator. Hearing of his safe return, she must have been so agitated to see him alive. Sister Miaoge, I've made you worry. At that moment, Lu Chongqing turned to look at not far away, at the eldest lady draped in white, surpassing the purity of snow, her figure slender and graceful, smiling as he spoke. Since Lu Miaoge had come along with Lu Miaohuan, she must be aware of the robber cultivator incident and was worried about him as well. It's good that you're all right. Seeing Lu Chongqing unharmed, Lu Miaoge's heart was filled with immense joy. Yet, even with such happiness, in such a situation, she wouldn't act like her sister Lu Miaohuan and throw herself at Lu Chongqing. She just smiled softly and spoke in a gentle voice. Her beautiful, unadorned face, as splendid as morning glow on snow, was exceptionally stunning. Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and the other women saw Lu Miaohuan embrace their husband and cover her face as she ran off. Then, they saw their husband and the eldest lady smiling and talking to each other. One gentle and genial, as if bathed in the spring breeze. The other pure and ethereal, as elegant as an immortal. Watching them, they felt an indescribable sense of perfect harmony. Since you're all right, I'm relieved. I'll go check on Huan. Lu Miaoge didn't stay for long. With this situation, and Lu Changsheng's many wives and concubines here, she felt quite uncomfortable and a bit out of place. Especially in the presence of Lu Miaoyun, she felt a sense of guilt and inadequacy. Typically, she hardly dared to meet Lu Miaoyun, and it was only because she was worried about Lu Chongqing that she had taken the initiative to come over. Sister Miaoge, let me walk you out. Lu Chongqing, seeing her reaction, quickly stepped forward and said. Lu Miaoge intended to say it wasn't necessary. But seeing Lu Chongqing already walking over to her, she pursed her lips lightly and said nothing. Sister Miaoge, have you recovered? Lu Chongqing asked casually. Initially, under his treatment, Lu Miaoge's life had been stabilized, but her injuries were severe and she needed recuperation. She returned to recover. It's almost completely healed. Lu Miaoge said softly. That's good then. Lu Chongqing nodded. There was a silence between them. As they left the back courtyard and reached the front courtyard, Lu Chongqing grasped Lu Miaoge's hand and said, Sister Miaoge, I've missed you. Lu Miaoge's hand was clasped by Lu Chongqing. Hearing these words, she suddenly stiffened, her heart fluttering. She also felt shy, fearing that this scene was seen by others. Sister Miaoge, did you miss me? Lu Chongqing looked at Lu Miaoge's ears, which were slightly tinged with red, and leaned in to ask. Lu Miaoge's cheeks flushed red, and after a moment, she whispered, I missed you too. I'm going to check on Huan Huan. She then wriggled out of Lu Chongqing's grasp and quickly left, looking somewhat flustered. Watching Lu Miaoge's retreating figure, Lu Chongqing shook his head slightly and chuckled, returning to the back courtyard. Just as he returned to the back courtyard, he saw Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and the rest of his wives and concubines looking at him with faces full of curiosity and gossip. I ran into a little accident on the way back from Nine Dragons Market, making the second young lady believe I was in trouble, which is why she was so excited upon knowing I returned. Lu Chongqing cleared his throat and explained to his wives. Oh, so that's what happened. Chu Xinjin showed a suddenly enlightened expression, yet her teasing smile clearly showed disbelief. It's fine, husband. Since there are already so many sisters at home, why not marry Sister Miaoge and Sister Miaohuan too? Lu Miaoyun spoke up, her lips curling into a light smile. As the official wife, she had come to terms with Lu Chongqing's practice of taking more wives and concubines. Thinking of how Lu Chongqing always brings women home, it might be better to marry both Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan. After all, it meant keeping the wealth within the family. Moreover, she knew that her husband wanted to have children with good spiritual roots. And both Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan had middle-grade spiritual roots. If they bore children, the chances of having offspring with middle-grade spiritual roots in the future were quite high. What are you talking about? Although Lu Chongqing did harbor such thoughts, he obviously couldn't agree outright at that moment. Husband, I'm serious, Lu Miaoyun said with a tinge of coyness. Yes, Sister Yun is right. Every time I see husband and Sister Miaoge together, I feel they are an excellent match, Chu Xinjin chimed in. Well now, to think that you're making fun of me. It seems you all haven't had a proper family rule to follow for quite some time, Lu Chongqing said, feeling a warm flush inside, thinking of how thoughtful and considerate his young wife was. As he was about to apply a family rule to his wives, the fourth elder arrived. Grandmother. Grandmother. Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun both tidied their clothes a bit and came out to greet her. Chu Xinjin and the other women also followed suit, greeting her with respect. Chongqing, I'm relieved that you're all right, said the fourth elder, who had also heard that Lu Chongqing had returned and came over to check. Seeing that Lu Chongqing was fine, she too felt relieved. With Lu Miaoyun and all the other women present, she didn't inquire into how Lu Chongqing had escaped being pursued. She simply chatted for a while and then went to see the grandchildren. On a mountain peak thousands of miles away from Nine Dragons Market. What's going on? It's been 2 days already, why haven't they arrived? Could something have happened? Does the Lu family secretly have a master hidden among them? Chapter 226, Don't let the riches flow into others' fields. A man in black with a mask, his breath somewhat disordered, murmured to himself. He thought of how his 3 companions had only been pursuing a few juniors from the Lu family, and if it hadn't been for an accident, it would have been impossible for them not to arrive at the designated meeting place after 2 days. Having waited until nightfall without seeing a trace of his companions, the masked man decided not to wait any longer. He took out a set of clothes from his storage bag to change his appearance. Transforming into a burly man with a square face wearing a purple robe, he piloted a flying artifact towards the Nine Dragons marketplace. The next day, family head Lu Yuanding and others called Lu Chongqing over and inquired about the situation. Lu Chongqing had long thought of an explanation for his narrow escape. He claimed that he had come across a body-protecting talisman at the marketplace for loose cultivators. It was with this talisman that he had managed to escape death by using an escape talisman. After listening to his story, Lu Yuanding and the others were somewhat surprised but did not ask too many questions. After all, there was no need to investigate such matters too deeply. Regardless of the truth, what Lu Chongqing had done was for the Lu family, and he deserved praise. Chongqing, your actions are indeed commendable. The family will remember this and reward you with 1,000 family contribution points. However, you must not take such risks in the future, Lu Yuanding said. His gaze towards Lu Chongqing carried a hint of admiration. In his impression, Lu Chongqing had always been a cautious and steady man. But this time, he had shown a daring spirit and the poise of a great general. This altered his impression of Lu Chongqing. He couldn't help but feel that during his initial visit to the Qingyun sect to seek a son-in-law, he had managed to bring back such an outstanding individual. Thank you, family head, Lu Chongqing said with a slight bow. 1,000 contribution points were equivalent to 1,000 spirit stones. Moreover, using contribution points to purchase items within the Lu family was like getting a discount of 20 to 30% off the external market price. Thus, this reward was quite significant. Chongqing, as you know the family's current situation, will need you to draw more talismans in the coming time. Rest assured, you'll earn 10% more contribution points for the talismans you draw during this period, continued Lu Yuanding. Understood, family head, Lu Chongqing replied with a bow. For him, with a second-ranked talisman-making skill and a 100% success rate in talisman crafting, drawing a few extra was no problem. That's all, then. Is there anything you want to ask? Lu Yuanding spoke. Family head, how long will this assembly of clan members last? Should I avoid going out during this time? Lu Chongqing asked. It had been a year since he had sent his wife, concubines, kids, Lu Lanshu, and Lu Pingon to the ordinary world. He hadn't yet had the chance to visit them even once. Therefore, Lu Chongqing also wanted to make a trip to check on his family. Moreover, he had recently received a letter from Hong Yi. It said Xia Zhaoyang had a 4th-grade spiritual root. Having passed the Qingyun sect's examination, he had successfully been accepted into the sect. At the same time, the cultivator behind the annihilation of Chu Zhenshan's whole family had been investigated. It was a Qi refinement 5th-layer cultivator. Hong Yi and Li Feiyu had taken him into custody directly and imprisoned him in the Rui Marquis mansion, waiting for Lu Changsheng's disposition. Therefore, Lu Chongqing planned to take Chu Zhenshan with him on a trip to the ordinary world. The time could be as short as 2 to 3 months, or as long as around a year. As for going out, if there's no emergency or important matter, you should stay in Qingzhou Mountain for the time being, Lu Yuanding said after a moment of thought. 2 to 3 months, or as long as a year, Lu Chongqing nodded slightly and said, there's nothing urgent, I just wanted to visit the children I sent to the ordinary world. Since it's not something urgent or significant, you should stay put for the time being, Lu Yuanding said. Yes, family head, Lu Chongqing nodded his head again, not questioning any further, and took his leave. He had a nagging feeling that the Lu family's move to recall all its members wasn't just because of the Qin family's attack. It was as if they were preparing some major move. Otherwise, why call everyone back when the Lu family ancestor was on the brink of death? Shouldn't the family members scatter and lie low to preserve their bloodline? Without speculating further, Lu Chongqing left the Great Hall. After this is over, I can talk to Lu Chongqing about Huaner. I wonder whether he will agree this time. Lu Yuanding watched Lu Changsheng's retreating figure, his thoughts turning to his daughter as he let out a sigh. He had seen how his daughter had lost her appetite and spirit these past few days. He knew his daughter's heart was set on Lu Chongqing, determined to marry no one else. He didn't mind the issue of Lu Chongqing having multiple wives and concubines. As for marrying Lu Miaohuan to Lu Chongqing, he wasn't against it. After all, in his view, aside from the many wives and children, Lu Chongqing was an excellent candidate in every aspect. Marrying Lu Miaohuan to him would also be a good choice. But the current problem was, while his daughter was willing and wanted to get married, it still depended on Lu Changsheng's agreement. He certainly couldn't beg Lu Chongqing, could he? Sigh, thinking this, Lu Yuanding sighed again. He felt as a father, he was truly anxious. Lu Chongqing. Just as Lu Chongqing had not walked too far from the estate, he heard a pleasing and engaging voice. Turning his head, he saw the second young miss, Lu Miaohuan, waving and quickly approaching him. Today, she was wearing a dark black dress embroidered with gold thread. Her curvaceous figure was perfectly outlined by the fitted dress, graceful and undulating. Chapter 227, Don't Let the Riches Flow into Others' Fields. A pair of full and straight beautiful legs were faintly visible beneath the hem of her dress, wrapped in thin, black silk stockings, sensual and inviting. On her feet were a pair of black high heels with slender heels and golden patterns. This outfit bore some resemblance to the clothes Lu Chongqing had first seen Lu Miaohuan wearing. Only now, comparatively speaking, the dress had become much more conservative. It did not reveal her pale, round shoulders and delicate clavicles. Second Mississippi. Lu Chongqing looked at Lu Miaohuan and said, Lu Chongqing, here are your talismans, we didn't use them last time. Lu Miaohuan was holding a stack of talismans, taking small steps, her high heels clacking click-clack-click. This sound of footsteps was somehow lighter and more brisk than usual. Thank you for going out of your way to bring them over, Lu Chongqing glanced at them and said with a smile. It's no trouble. Lu Miaohuan shook her head with a slight blush on her cheeks. Then she said softly, Thank you for before. Thank me for what? Lu Chongqing looked at the second miss, who was originally proud and aloof, now frequently blushing, and felt somewhat emotional. He still preferred her look of noble coolness. For what happened on the way back? Lu Chongqing, why did you step off the flying boat at that time? Didn't you know it was dangerous? Aren't you afraid of death? Lu Miaohuan asked. I knew, and I was afraid, Lu Chongqing said casually. If you were scared, why did you still do it? It was so dangerous. Lu Miaohuan kept asking. Although Lu Chongqing was fine now, she still felt terrified when she thought back to that moment. She had no idea how Lu Chongqing managed to escape death. At that time, it was necessary to draw one person away, otherwise, we all would have been in danger. And I felt I was the most suitable, so I stood up. Otherwise, if we had kept delaying, what if you, second miss, were to run into danger? Lu Chongqing looked at the second miss and teased her with a laugh. Lu Miaohuan, seeing his narrow smile and joking tone, knew he was intentionally teasing her. But she also felt that Lu Chongqing was deliberately telling the truth in a joking manner. If the second miss feels moved, you could give me a hug like yesterday to express your gratitude, Lu Chongqing said with a near smile, looking at Lu Miaohuan's expression. Dream on. Lu Miaohuan, recalling her embarrassing behavior from the day before, huffed cutely and turned to leave. But after a few steps, she suddenly turned around and hugged Lu Chongqing. Is this good enough? Just as Lu Chongqing was about to say something, in that moment, his body couldn't help but stiffen slightly. Because he saw family head Lu Yuanding just coming out. Lu Miaohuan saw Lu Chongqing fall silent. She turned her head too, and immediately saw her father. Instantly, she felt a wave of embarrassment. She hadn't expected her father to witness her hugging Lu Chongqing, and she immediately let go of him, hanging her head. It seems my earlier concerns were unnecessary. Lu Yuanding, seeing the scene, shook his head slightly and pretended not to have seen it, turning back around. He had not expected his daughter's relationship with Lu Chongqing to have progressed to this extent. At the same time, he felt that Lu Chongqing was not as simple as he appeared. "It's all your fault." Lu Miaowan, seeing her father pretending not to have seen and turning back, told Lu Chongqing a bit irritably. She didn't dare say much more to Lu Chongqing and hurried home. P.S. I'm very sleepy, will make up the word count during the day. Alas, I don't really like writing this kind of plot either, you probably find it stiff, and am struggling over every word. But it feels like, even as an emotionless sewing machine, the story has come to this point, and it's inevitable for the two sisters to wrap things up, so I have to write a bit. Chapter 228, The New Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator, to Battle. _1, to be caught by the family head, that's really. As Lu Chongqing walked back, he thought about how he had just been held by Lu Miaowan when Lu Yuanding appeared, and he couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. However, he didn't feel embarrassed at all. Nowadays, the second Miss temperament has also improved somewhat. Lu Chongqing was also somewhat confident that he could handle the second Mississippi. In such a situation, he could also consider taking the second Miss back to his family. So, being seen was just being seen. He would just treat it as giving his future father-in-law some mental preparation in advance. Speaking of which, should I let the family head unintentionally see me with the eldest Miss someday, to give him a bit of mental preparation? Lu Chongqing couldn't help but think to himself. But as soon as the thought arose, he felt it was better to put it on hold for now. Otherwise, he was really afraid that Lu Yuanding would chop him up with a sword. After all, no father could stand it if one man snatched away both daughters he had raised. But there's still a long way to go. Thinking of the eldest Miss' current situation, Lu Chongqing shook his head. It seemed that taking both sisters back to his family wouldn't be so simple. There's a saying, let things flow naturally when the boat reaches the pier, so Lu Chongqing didn't think much about it and went home. In the following days, Lu Chongqing still spent his days cultivating, making talismans, and spending time with his wives and concubines. In his spare time, he also used his skills in puppetry to create simple wooden oxen and horses, mechanical men, and mechanical beasts as toys for the children. This was also a way to let people know that he had dabbled into some puppetry skills. Seeing the children's love for the toys made with puppetry, Lu Chongqing suddenly thought of a saying. Interest is the best teacher for a child. He then thought he could perhaps stimulate the children's interest in puppetry through this approach. If the children had some talent in puppetry, they could then be trained towards becoming puppet masters. Although puppetry wasn't as esteemed as other skills like alchemy, formation, equipment, and talisman making, it was nevertheless considered a decent skill. And for children without a spiritual root, having some knowledge in puppetry, when venturing into the mortal world, would certainly be a useful skill. They could create things like wooden oxen and horses, wooden birds, mechanical beasts, armillary spheres, earthquake instruments, among other mechanisms. Straight away, whenever Lu Chongqing had free time, he would work with the children to create some simple mechanical toys. And he would explain some knowledge related to puppetry. In the blink of an eye, more than half a month passed. During these times, Lu family disciples continually returned to Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Chongqing heard from Lu Miaoyan that quite a few Lu family disciples had been attacked and killed on their way back. Moreover, due to the summoning of the family's disciples, many of the Lu family's territories had been encroached upon by the Qin family. Like the spirit stone mine that was contested between the Lu family and the Qin family, it was now under the control of the Qin family. During this period, some of the Lu family's guest elders also chose to leave the family. Lu Chongqing saw all this happen and knew it was inevitable. After all, to most people, in the current struggle between the Lu family and the Qin family, it was clear that the Qin family had the upper hand. Once the Lu family ancestor died, the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain would essentially be extinct in name and in reality. As an ordinary guest elder, it was natural not to want to share in the family's resources and rise or fall with the Lu family. If he wasn't so deeply tied to the Lu family with so many wives and children, even Lu Chongqing would choose to leave. But Lu Chongqing always felt that this wave of summoning all the clan members back wasn't so simple. Otherwise, he really couldn't understand what was the point of gathering all the clan members. It certainly wasn't just to defend Qingzhou Mountain. Or to fight a decisive battle with the Qin family, right? This kind of act was completely against the logic of the cultivation world. There's a saying, if you preserve the people but lose the land, both will eventually be lost. If you preserve the land but lose the people, both will eventually be preserved. For a cultivation family like the Lu family, what should be done at this time is to preserve their strength. Wait for a new foundation establishment great cultivator to emerge. Not to defend Qingzhou Mountain or struggle for immediate benefits, potentially sacrificing the entire family. Before he knew it, 3 months had passed. Because of the current situation of the Lu family, and the need to consider fleeing with his wives and children at any moment, Lu Chongqing did not let his wives and maids conceive during these times. After all, it would be quite troublesome if the Lu family crisis happened just as a child was being born. Or if his wives were all pregnant at that time. Thinking that the situation of the Lu family would last for some time, Lu Chongqing decided to postpone having more children for a while. And he let his wives and maids have a good rest. The absence of new births for such a long time made Lu Miaoyun, Chu Xinjin, and the other wives feel that something wasn't right, and they asked Lu Chongqing what was going on. If not for the fact that Lu Chongqing was still vigorous and passionate every night, it would be difficult for him to explain. On this day, Lu Bo came to Lu Changsheng's residence. He said that the family head had summoned all Lu family disciples to gather at the central plaza of Qingzhou Mountain. All Lu family disciples gathering. Lu Bo, has something happened? Lu Chongqing asked. He had been in Qingzhou Mountain for 10 years now. He had never encountered such an event. He couldn't help but speculate whether the Lu family was preparing for a major battle with the Qin family or planning a mass relocation away from Qingzhou Mountain. I'm not sure about the details, I'm just relaying the message, you'll know once you get there, Lu Bo said. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongqing didn't ask any further questions. He walked towards the central plaza of Qingzhou Mountain with Lu Miaohuan. Upon arrival at the central plaza, Lu Chongqing saw the many Lu family disciples and guest elders gathered there. Chapter 229, The New Foundation Building Great Cultivator, to Battle. This was the first time he had seen so many people at Qingzhou Mountain. After all, he usually led a reclusive life and barely went out. Or it could be said that most cultivators did not like to venture outside. People kept arriving one after another. After about a quarter of an hour, nearly everyone had arrived. In the plaza, many people were whispering amongst themselves, speculating about why the family had summoned everyone here. But none knew what the matter was. It was at this time. 2 surging and majestic auras of spiritual pressure burst forth. Everyone looked up. They immediately saw an elder with the appearance of a young boy despite his white hair, wearing a Qingzhou robe and with a dignified face, flying through the air. Next to this elder, there was a scholarly-looking middle-aged man dressed in a blue robe, about 40 years old. To everyone's surprise, this middle-aged man, just like the Lu family ancestor, was exuding a terrifying aura of spiritual pressure. And he was also flying through the air. We pay our respects to the ancestor. We pay our respects to the ancestor. We pay our respects to the ancestor. At this moment, everyone shouted in unison, bowing in salute. Flying through the air. Has the Lu family brought forth a new foundation building great cultivator? Seeing this scene, Lu Chongqing was also astonished and bowed in salute. Flying through the air was something only achievable after breaking through to foundation establishment. It was also a symbol and characteristic of a foundation-building great cultivator. This scholarly man who was flying next to the Lu family ancestor was indicating that he was a foundation-building great cultivator. Silence. The Lu family ancestor spoke indifferently, quieting the clamor in the plaza. Then, he swept his gaze over everyone and said, "Today, I have an announcement to make. As you all can see, Yuan Zhong has broken through to foundation establishment." The aged voice of the Lu family ancestor was not loud, but it clearly reached everyone's ears. "We pay respects to Ancestor Yuan Zhong. We pay respects to Ancestor Yuan Zhong. We pay respects to Ancestor Yuan Zhong." Upon hearing the words of the Lu family ancestor, confirming that Lu Yuanzhong had become a foundation-building great cultivator, all the Lu family disciples were overcome with excitement and fervor. The Lu family members, who had felt a bit repressed during this period, suddenly swept away all traces of gloom. With their emotions surging like a tidal wave, they shouted together, "Lu Yuanzhong, the Lu family has actually brought forth a new foundation-building great cultivator." Lu Chongqing, hearing these words, was also thrilled inside. After all, the emergence of a new foundation-building great cultivator in the Lu family meant that the crisis at Qingzhou Mountain would be resolved. He no longer needed to worry about the need to flee with his wives and children. He could continue to live in Qingzhou Mountain peacefully and steadily. Because, unless it was absolutely necessary, Lu Chongqing really did not want to reveal his true strength. In the eyes of others, he was only a 9th-grade spiritual root. Exposing too much strength would easily draw attention and make him a target. It was bound to bring about many unnecessary troubles. By the way, the family head, the second elder and the others, could they have already known about this ancestor Yuan Zhong of the Lu family? Lu Chongqing looked at the Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong on the high platform and suddenly thought to himself. He recalled Lu Yuanding and the second elder's reassurances that the Lu family had a hidden depth. Moreover, Lu Chongqing knew that breaking through to the foundation establishment stage would provoke the spirit energy of heaven and earth, causing a significant disturbance. In those 3 months, he had always been in Qingzhou. And he hadn't sensed any signs of someone breaking through to foundation establishment. This indicated that Ancestor Yuan Zhong might not have achieved his breakthrough in this period. Of course, it was also possible that the Lu family had used some means to conceal the signs and phenomena of the breakthrough. The Qin family has bullied us Lu family too far. Today, with my achievement of foundation establishment, is also the day for our Lu family to counterattack. The ancestor has already formed an alliance with 100 Birds Lake Bai family and intends to march to Red Leaf Valley today to destroy the Qin family, eradicating Red Leaf Valley Qin family from the cultivation world. At this moment, Lu Yuanzhong, the newly promoted foundation establishment ancestor of the Lu family, looked at everyone and declared with a resonant voice. The simple words set the blood of all Lu family disciples boiling. For these past few months, or even years, every member of the Lu family had been harboring a sense of frustration. Their hatred for the Red Leaf Valley Qin family had accumulated for over a decade. Now that the Lu family had given birth to their second foundation-building great cultivator and was preparing to counterattack the Qin family, how could they not be excited and moved? They felt as if they were invigorated with renewed energy, their hearts tumultuous with excitement. They could hardly wait to follow the two ancestors and make their move against the Qin family. So urgent. It seems that Ancestor Yuan Zhong broke through to foundation establishment a long time ago, but kept it a secret, consolidating his cultivation realm or waiting for the right moment. No wonder the family head has been urging me to make more talismans all this past year. During this period, the family has also been covertly acquiring talismans, elixir medicines, puppets and other treasures. It appears it was all in preparation for this battle. Lu Chongqing, hearing Lu Yuanzhong's words, had a sudden realization. He finally understood why the Lu family had called all their family disciples back. It was all in preparation for this moment. The Qin family wanted to devour and take over the Lu family. But similarly, the Lu family also wanted to take down the Qin family and advance further. With the Lu family ancestors' grand birthday approaching, it seemed that they wanted to use this opportunity to give their last bit of strength to the Lu family. With 2 foundation-building great cultivators, allied with 100 birds lake by family, that makes 3 foundation-building great cultivators. True, although the Qin family has only 1 foundation establishment ancestor, Red Leaf Valley is also protected by a formation. If there were only 2 foundation-building great cultivators, it still might not be enough to break through. And even if the Lu family did conquer the Qin family, there would be significant casualties. Relying solely on the Lu family would make it difficult to take over the spirit vein of Red Leaf Valley, hence why they brought in the 100 Birds Lake by family who has had good relations with the Lu family for generations. With the addition of the Bai family ancestor, with 3 foundation-building great cultivators, this battle should be nearly certain. Even if the Qin family seeks reinforcements from Wugong Ridge Xing family, the Xing family would not be able to assist in time. Chapter 230, The New Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator, to Battle. Lu Chongqing pondered in his heart. The Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain had been on good terms for generations with the Bai family of White Bird Lake. As for the Qin family of Red Leaf Valley, they also maintained friendly relations with the Xing family of Wugong Ridge. But now, if the Lu family and the Bai family, with their 3 foundation establishment great cultivators, were to strike the Qin family with the force of thunder, it was improbable that the Xing family of Wugong Ridge could come to the rescue so quickly. After Lu Yuanzhong finished speaking, Lu Yuanding and a group of Lu family elders and clan seniors appeared. They summoned all the Lu family disciples who were at the late stage of qi refinement or above. Following the 2 ancestors, they set out to strike at the Qin family. There would be rewards based on merit afterward. And every person who registered was to be issued talismans, elixir medicines, magic artifacts, and treasures. Chongqing, Miaoyun, follow your grandmother over later, said the 4th elder as he came over with 2 packets containing talismans, elixir medicines, and magic artifacts for Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun, and spoke out. This battle was a general mobilization of the entire Lu family. All Lu family disciples above the middle stage of qi refinement had to take part. Consequently, Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun were no exception. For the Lu family, this battle was deemed a sure-win situation. There was no danger anticipated. Having all the family disciples participate was also an opportunity to gain experience, expand horizons, and strengthen their sense of belonging to the family. Yes, grandmother, Lu Chongqing replied. He had wondered if he could avoid going, just wait at the Lu family for the good news. But unexpectedly, the 4th elder came and involved both him and Lu Miaoyun. He understood that such a full family mobilization was unavoidable. To not participate would be akin to desertion. So he accepted the call, went along to see what a battle at the level of foundation establishment great cultivators looked like. After all, he had yet to witness the power of a foundation establishment great cultivator. This would give him a chance to gauge the strength of foundation establishment cultivators, so he would know what to expect when facing one in the future. Good, just follow your grandmother later. There won't be any danger, said the 4th elder in a gentle and kindly tone. All right, grandmother, Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun nodded in agreement. At that moment, Lu Chongqing also noticed Lu Yuanding instructing his 2 daughters about something. Apparently, they were also going to participate. No one could be exempted. Half a day later, the Lu family gathered all the disciples who were going to battle. Besides the 2 foundation establishment ancestors, there were a total of 4 cultivators at the 9th level energy refinement, 13 at the energy refinement late stage, and more than 50 at the middle stage. Those at the initial stage of qi refinement were not allowed to join in. Even though this battle was expected to be an easy victory, the Lu family would not bring along cultivators at the initial stage of qi refinement, since such strength would not only be of little use but might also drag down the others. Chongqing, Miaoyun, called the fourth elder. He released a flying boat, calling Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun aboard, along with a few other Lu family disciples, filling up the boat. "Depart for battle," shouted the Lu family ancestor after the assembly was complete, leading the way with Lu Yuanzhong on flying swords. 5 small flying boats followed, carrying a legion of Lu family disciples. Some Lu family elders and guest elders rode on flying mounts on both sides of the boats. They left Qingzhou Mountain in a mighty procession, heading towards the Qin family of Red Leaf Valley. Meanwhile, Qingzhou Mountain was left with only a few clan seniors who activated the mountain protection array, guarding the mountain, to prevent anyone from taking advantage of their absence. Simultaneously, in Red Leaf Valley, a slender youth was cultivating bees and insects, when suddenly, he felt somewhat unsettled in his mind and spirit. It's uncertain how many years the Lu family ancestor has left, otherwise, if this delay continues, the effect of the Lockhart goo will become increasingly significant on me, murmured Meng Xiaochan to herself. Because of the Lockhart goo, she could not directly kill Lu Chongqing. Upon hearing that the Lu family ancestor did not have many years left and learning of the enmity between the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain and the Qin family of Red Leaf Valley, she came up with a plan and went to Red Leaf Valley to become a cultivator of the Qin family, hoping to use the might of the Qin family to annihilate the Lu family. Then she would find a way to have ancestor Qin indirectly kill Lu Chongqing and retrieve the Lockhart goo. P.S. My condition is really not good after staying up late, so I need to rest a bit. Chapter 231, No, Lu Lang. _1 Qingzhou Mountain wasn't very far from Red Leaf Valley. The journey was just over 1,000 li. It was precisely because of their proximity that both families often fought over resources around their clan territories, leading to conflicts. An incident involving a spirit stone mine over 10 years ago had become the flashpoint for all these conflicts. It had led both families into an all-out conflict, creating an irreconcilable blood feud. After the Lu family's main forces had traveled several hundred li, Lu Chongqing saw a formidable and impressive army heading in their direction. Leading this army was an elderly man with an old face and a tall figure, wearing a robe embroidered with flying birds. He stood with his hands behind his back, his black bird-embroidered robe fluttering in the wind, riding atop a black hawk with a formidable presence. Following him were 3 flying boats and a group of cultivators riding spirit birds. "Brother Lu, Daoist Yuanzhong." The old man greeted the Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong with a clasped fist. "Brother Bai. Daoist Bai." The Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong also returned the gesture to the Bai family ancestor. After a brief exchange, they led their respective troops and hastened towards Red Leaf Valley. It was clear they had planned to meet here. Is this the 100 Birds Lake Bai family and the Bai family ancestor? Lu Chongqing looked towards the large troop from the Bai family traveling with them. About 60 people in total. Aside from the Bai family ancestor, who was a foundation-building great cultivator, the strength and the number of the energy-refining cultivators seemed roughly equal to those of the Lu family. However, Lu Chongqing knew that excluding Lu Yuanzhong, who had just recently achieved foundation establishment, the overall strength of the Bai family was slightly stronger than the Lu families. It seemed the Bai family hadn't, like the Lu family, completely emptied out their clan's forces to commit to this battle. 100 Birds Lake is teeming with spirit fish and other aquatic products, attracted by many spirit birds that come to the lake to hunt. Thus, Bai family cultivators are mostly adept in the art of beast taming, not just fishing but also capturing and domesticating spirit birds to earn spirit stones. Lu Chongqing once again observed the spirit birds ridden by the Bai family troops. They were noticeably quite good. Not just typical transport spirit birds like iron feather eagles. They ought to possess some combat capabilities. The majestic black hawk beneath the feet of the Bai family ancestor, for instance, was probably a peak first-grade demon beast. When we arrive at Red Leaf Valley, you don't need to disembark from the flying boat, just follow my instructions, said the 4th elder as they neared Red Leaf Valley. He began to instruct those on the flying boat, including Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun, on what to do upon arrival. The first step was to form up. Then, using talismans and attack formations issued by the family, they would begin breaking through the formation. Once the great formation was breached, they would follow the fourth elder in the assault. Clearly, the Lu family and the Bai family had a detailed plan prepared for this battle. Yes, Grandma. Yes, fourth elder. The people on the flying boat nodded and replied. 2 hours later, everyone, get ready, we're approaching Red Leaf Valley now. Lu Yuanzhong announced, his booming voice reaching everyone's ears. The eager Lu family young disciples, stirred upon hearing this, braced themselves and focused attentively. So this is Red Leaf Valley. Lu Chongqing gazed forward, immediately spotting a place shrouded and obscured by formations, hazy to the point where only a vast expanse of crimson could be seen. This was his first visit to Red Leaf Valley. He knew that, like Qingzhou Mountain, Red Leaf Valley was known for a particular type of red leaf tree. Meanwhile, within Red Leaf Valley, not good, enemy attack. The Qin family scouts stationed for patrol, seeing the flying boats and cultivators approaching from afar in the sky toward Red Leaf Valley, instantly changed their expressions, realizing something was amiss. They urgently relayed a message to their clan, signaling an enemy assault. At the same time, they activated the Great Formation's defenses at full strength. The large forces of the Lu family and the Bai family arrived around Red Leaf Valley and began to fan out systematically. They surrounded Red Leaf Valley from various directions. 2 array masters proficient in formations then took out their instruments, beginning to set up formations around the perimeter of Red Leaf Valley. One was a formation to prevent the Qin family cultivators from escaping. The other was to break through the Qin family's second-rank Great Formation. Everyone, get ready, begin breaking the formation. The Lu family ancestor and the Bai family ancestor didn't bother with pomp and ceremony. With a simple raise of their hands, they ordered everyone to start breaking the formation. The next moment. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. All Lu family and Bai family cultivators pulled out talismans, cast spells, and launched bold spiritual light attacks slamming into the second-rank Great Formation of Red Leaf Valley. The formation's shield rippled and thundered in response. Lu Chongqing and Lu Miaoyun, along with the fourth elder, joined in the assault from the southeast side of Red Leaf Valley, activating their talismans to bombard the Great Formation. It seems that war is always a drain on resources, no matter where, Lu Chongqing couldn't help thinking to himself as he watched the unfolding scene. Even with 3 foundation establishment great cultivators from the Lu and Bai families, breaking through the Qin family's second-rank Great Formation was not going to be easy. They had no choice but to force their way through. And such an assault was, frankly, just burning money. Each wave of attacks cost hundreds of spirit stones. To break through the Qin family's second-rank Great Formation would likely require tens of thousands of spirit stones. In front of Red Leaf Valley, the Lu family ancestor looked towards the Great Formation of Red Leaf Valley, and transmitted a message to Lu Yuanzhong who was beside him. Yuanzhong, when the Great Formation breaks, you stay back and press the attack, try not to get involved. Otherwise, in desperation, old Ghost Qin might decide to target you for a suicidal struggle. I, the ancestor, don't have much longer to live, so I have no worries. It's a good opportunity to exterminate him and remove future troubles, said the Lu family ancestor in a grave tone. Although they had 3 foundation establishment great cultivators on their side, facing a single ancestor Qin, success seemed almost certain. But there was always the chance that ancestor Qin had some tricks up his sleeve. Chapter 232, No, Lu Lang. In a desperate struggle like a cornered beast, they staked everything in a fight to the death, hoping to take down Lu Yuanzhong and plunge his Lu family into crisis. After all, the Lu family ancestors' time was almost up. For the sake of Lu Yuanzhong's foundation establishment and this battle, the Lu family had expended a great deal. They no longer had the ability to cultivate a second foundation establishment cultivator. Therefore, Lu Yuanzhong absolutely could not have any mishaps. Ancestor, Lu Yuanzhong was visibly moved. He knew in his heart that the ancestor had already resolved to face death in this battle. He was prepared to gamble with his life to kill Ancestor Qin. Otherwise, they couldn't possibly have convinced the Bai family ancestor to come and join this battle with so many people. Because once a family war like this began, it was essential to slay Ancestor Qin, this foundation establishment cultivator. If not, letting Ancestor Qin, a foundation-building great cultivator, escape would result in endless troubles for both the Qin and Bai families. Lu Old Ghost, Bai Old Ghost, do you really want to bring ruin to both our families? As the great formation's spiritual light dimmed in Red Leaf Valley, a streak of light emerged, exuding a terrifying aura of spiritual pressure. It was Ancestor Qin. He quickly took command of the second-rank Great Formation at Qingzhou Mountain. The once dimming light, under the siege, now burst forth, shaping like an upside-down crystal bowl, indestructible. The fish may die, but the net may not break, the Lu family ancestor said with an indifferent expression. Then he shouted loudly, "Talisman to break the ban, break the formation." At his command, immediately, the cultivators of the Lu family and Bai family in the late stage of energy refinement each sacrificed a first-grade talisman towards the weakest part of the formation. The giant bowl that had just burst into light, looking like an upside-down crystal, abruptly became less luminous. Lu family's Lu Yuanzhong, you've actually broken through to foundation establishment. At this moment, Ancestor Qin saw Lu Yuanzhong standing next to the Lu family ancestor, his eyes narrowed sharply. The Qin family and Lu family were mortal enemies, so he naturally knew about the Lu family. He was aware of who had the potential to break through to foundation establishment. He recognized Lu Yuanzhong at a glance and saw that he had achieved foundation establishment. Lu Old Ghost, I didn't expect that before your death, your Lu family would actually produce a foundation establishment great cultivator. Ancestor Qin looked at the Lu family ancestor with a sullen face and spoke. He had thought that in a few more years, the Lu family ancestor would die. Unexpectedly, at this crucial moment, the Lu family had a new foundation establishment great cultivator. He also understood that the Lu and Bai families came fully prepared, clearly intending to destroy his Qin family today. If the formation was breached, not only would the Qin family be doomed, facing the encirclement of 3 foundation establishment cultivators, he would hardly escape calamity. Old Ghost Qin, do you really believe my Qin family is so easily bullied? Ancestor Qin let out a cold laugh, his expression extremely calm. He immediately transmitted a message, Meng friend, please assist. In a short while, a streak of light flew through the sky, transforming into a skinny young man. Foundation establishment great cultivator. How is this possible? How did the Qin family also have a second foundation establishment cultivator? No, this person isn't from the Qin family. Even though the young man did not emit the pressure of foundation establishment, the Lu family ancestor, Bai family ancestor, and Lu Yuanzhong could tell at a glance that he was a foundation establishment cultivator. All their complexions changed instantly. They dared to come to Red Leaf Valley for this battle, relying on the strength of 3 foundation establishment cultivators against the only one from the Qin family. With a 3-to-1 advantage, victory seemed certain for them. However, if it was 3 against 2, slaying Ancestor Qin would become very difficult. Moreover, in this battle, they had to make a quick decision. To take down Red Leaf Valley with the swiftness of a thunderbolt. Otherwise, once the Wugong Ridge Xing family received the Qin family's call for help and hurried over, they would have no hope of capturing Red Leaf Valley. Ancestor. Lu brother, do we fight or retreat? Lu Yuanzhong and the Bai family ancestor turned to the Lu family ancestor, inquiring about his plan. The three had not anticipated that the Qin family would have a second foundation establishment great cultivator. For this trip to Red Leaf Valley, the Lu and Bai families had distributed resources to all their disciples, all of which were pure spirit stones. If they failed to capture Red Leaf Valley, it would mean a massive loss for both families. And now, choosing to retreat would greatly demoralize their families. The Lu family ancestor did not speak. His expression was extremely grim. He had not anticipated this situation. His life was nearly over, without much time left. Once he passed away, the Lu family would be left with only Lu Yuanzhong, a great cultivator who had just broken through to foundation establishment. At that point, the Lu family would struggle mightily against the Qin family, and the Qin family might even join forces with the Wugong Ridge Xing family to attack their Qinzhou mountain. Fellow Daoist, you shouldn't be from the Qin family, right? This matter is a dispute between my Lu family and the Qin family. As long as you leave and do not join this battle, my Lu family is willing to offer a handsome reward. Or if you have any demands, you can state them, the Lu family ancestor said courteously to Meng Xiaoqian as he made a polite gesture with his hands. He had noticed that the other party was not from the Qin family. He hoped that they would leave and not get involved in this battle. Meng friend, I have already sent a message to the Wugong Ridge Xing family. As soon as Ancestor Xing arrives, the crisis will be resolved, and my Qin family will not let you take action in vain. There will be a generous reward. Ancestor Qin also hurriedly spoke to Meng Xiaoqian. Meng Xiaoqian, having come over due to an old grudge with the Lu family, wanted to join the Qin family in destroying the Lu family for revenge and to gain a share of the spoils. But now, with 3 foundation establishment cultivators in front of him, he dared not bet that Meng Xiaoqian would leave. Therefore, to get the help of Meng Xiaoqian, a foundation establishment cultivator, he naturally had to pay a price. Meng Xiaoqian did not speak. Because at this moment, she finally understood the source of her previous unease. Chapter 233, No, Lu Lang. Lockhart Gu. After her breakthrough to foundation establishment, she could barely suppress the influence of the Lockhart Gu. But at this moment, her heart couldn't help but palpitate, as affection began to permeate. Her divine sense involuntarily looked towards the southeast direction of Red Leaf Valley. She saw a handsome and upright young man on a flying boat in the distance. Kill him, he must be killed. Upon seeing Lu Chongqing, the effect of the suppressed Lockhart Gu burst forth like a tide, instilling a sense of fear and dread in Meng Xiaoqian's heart. The only thought in her mind was to kill Lu Chongqing quickly and retrieve the Lockhart Gu. Patriarch Qin, I can help you, but I need you to help me kill a cultivator from the Lu family right now, she said suddenly, clutching her chest and suppressing the agony brought on by the Lockhart Gu with a grave tone. Kill whom? Ancestor Qin directly inquired. I have taken an oath not to harm him, so as long as Patriarch Qin is willing to make a move, I am willing to help your Qin family through this calamity. He is on the flying boat in the southeast direction. Meng Xiaoqian said through clenched teeth, her face contorted with pain and her voice strained. She took out a jade slip and handed it to Ancestor Qin. It was a portrayal of Lu Chongqing. Ancestor Qin saw Meng Xiaoqian's painful expression and couldn't help but be surprised by her condition. He believed half of what Meng Xiaoqian said. He surmised that she must be under some oath or curse. He internally remarked how overbearing the oath must be. To cause a foundation-building great cultivator such pain simply for harboring malice towards someone. However, in the cultivation world, there are all sorts of strange and bizarre methods. For example, some master-servant pacts that would cause the servant to be like this, unable to break free. Once they harbor malice, they would suffer from the backlash of the pact, leading to unbearable pain. Fine, Chen will take on this task. Old Ghost Chen immediately agreed. At this moment, he also had no choice but to agree. Otherwise, if Meng Xiaoqian left, Red Leaf Valley would be in danger. Moreover, seeing Meng Xiaochan in such a state, he also knew. If Lu Chongqing did not die and the great battle commenced, it might even affect the performance of his own strength as a Foundation establishment adherent. Lu old ghost, give up. This Meng Daoist friend is a cultivator under my Qin family, she will not leave. I have already sent a message to Daoist Jing, it's still not too late for you to leave now. Immediately after, Ancestor Qin looked towards the Lu family ancestor and said coldly, "Continue breaking the formation." Upon hearing this, the Lu family ancestor ground his teeth and responded. For him, at this moment, the situation was like an arrow on the bowstring, impossible not to launch. Facing these circumstances, the Lu family also had no option to retreat. Brother Bai, don't worry, when the time comes, I will use a secret technique. Even if I cannot fight off old Ghost Qin, I will make sure he suffers a severe blow and lead to a short life. The Lu family ancestor said to the Bai family ancestor with a heavy voice. Compared to the Lu family, the Bai family's situation was somewhat better, and they could still retreat. So he had to continue fighting and ensure the Bai family ancestor was on board. Alright, since Brother Lu says so, I will continue to fight. Upon hearing this, the Bai family ancestor nodded in agreement. He also did not wish for the Qin family to become too powerful. He hoped that before the Lu family ancestor died, he could take the Qin family ancestor with him. Suddenly, the three Foundation establishment cultivators exchanged glances and began to act, attacking the formation ahead to accelerate the breach in the Great Formation. Everyone, form up! Ancestor Qin shouted loudly. He prompted the Qin family clansmen to operate their energy simultaneously, melding their qi into the formation to counter the attacks. But the Lu and Bai families came to this battle prepared and had made comprehensive arrangements. They not only distributed plenty of talismans for their clansmen to launch attacks with. They had also prepared many formation-breaking talismans, continuously weakening and lifting the restrictions of the formation. Furthermore, at this time, the array masters of the Lu and Bai families were also affecting the Red Leaf Valley's second-rank Great Formation with external formations. This won't do, at this rate, it will be difficult to hold out until Daoist Jing arrives, Ancestor Qin knew. The current situation made it hard to rely on the formation to last until the arrival of Bai family ancestor Jing. Moreover, if this stalemate continued, his and his clan's people's mana would be continually drained by the formation. By the time the formation was breached, he would be weakened and unable to avoid a disaster. Meng Daoist friend, I shall fulfill the agreement right now. Ancestor Chen made a decisive call. Planning to give up the Great Formation's defense, relying on himself and Meng Xiaochan to hold out until the Jing family's reinforcements arrived. As his words fell, he took charge of the formation, causing a huge, glass-like hammer to appear above the second-rank Great Formation like a crystalline bowl, and smashed it heavily towards a flying boat in the southeast. Ha! What does old Ghostian think he's doing? Does he actually want to break through the defense and escape? No good, it's in the direction of the fourth elder. The Lu family ancestor, the Bai family ancestor, and Lu Yuanzhong, upon seeing this scene, were all shocked. They did not expect Ancestor Qin to counterattack at this moment. Believing that he intended to tear through their defensive formation to flee, they hurriedly flew towards the southeast direction. Not good. In the southeast, aboard the flying boat, the fourth elder was commanding everyone to break the formation. Seeing Ancestor Qin suddenly take control of the formation and launch an offensive against them, her complexion drastically changed. With a slap on her storage bag, she activated a stack of first-rank supreme talismans for protection. All of them turned into layers of golden light, enveloping everyone. She also sacrificed a blue treasure bead that soared into the sky, bursting forth with dazzling light, in an attempt to block the towering hammer. Lu Chongqing witnessed this scene, his own complexion changing. He never expected that in the midst of an advantageous battle, the Qin family would begin to counterattack, and it was aimed right at his side. He could clearly feel the terror of this strike. This was no longer a mere attack from an average Foundation establishment great cultivator. With the first-rank talismans of the Fourth Elder, it would likely be very difficult to defend. At this moment, Lu Chongqing could no longer afford to hide his capabilities. He took out the only second-rank middle-grade defense talisman he had on him and immediately activated it. In the blink of an eye, a dense, golden divine light burst out from the talisman, forming a golden barrier that enveloped the entire flying boat, giving off an indestructible aura. Is that a second-rank talisman? The Fourth Elder, seeing the talisman Lu Chongqing used, was shocked, recognizing it as a second-rank talisman. She did not expect Lu Chongqing to possess a talisman of such rank. Without any time to ponder, bang! The giant hammer from the heavens had already smashed down hard. It directly crushed the blue treasure bead that the Fourth Elder had sacrificed into powder, causing the Fourth Elder's complexion to turn pale, and she let out a muffled groan. Bang, 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 the hammer kept falling, causing the defenses formed by the Fourth Elder's several life-saving talismans to rapidly shatter within a few breaths. Only Lu Changsheng's second-rank middle-grade talisman managed to slightly hold up for a moment. In that instant, Lu Chongqing activated another second-rank lower-grade talisman, which formed another layer of golden light barrier. The Fourth Elder, with no time to be surprised or to think, drew several more talismans from her storage bag, activated them, and formed additional defenses. Ancestor Qin, seeing this scene, was also somewhat surprised. He had thought that one strike would easily kill everyone on the flying boat. Yet, these people actually had so many talismans, and even ones as protective as second-rank talismans. Kill! Ancestor Chen's expression turned ferocious. He continued to draw power from the formation, seeking to annihilate Lu Chongqing and the others. However, at this moment, Lu Yuanzhong and the Lu family ancestor also arrived. Seeing the Fourth Elder and Lu Chongqing struggling to resist, they immediately brought out their spiritual artifacts and cast spells to block the formation hammer. Meanwhile, Meng Xiaochan inside the Great Formation watched this unfold. Seeing Ancestor Qin controlling the formation to attack Lu Chongqing, she felt not the slightest pleasure. Clutching her chest tightly, she was in extreme agony, gasping for breath, with heartache as if being cut by knives, and tears starting to flow from the corners of her eyes. Quick, quick! She could feel the influence of the Lockhart goo and the affection in her heart causing her to gradually lose her sanity. The last bit of reason in her mind urged her to implore Ancestor Qin to quickly kill Lu Chongqing. But in the next instant, under the influence of the Lockhart goo and the affection spreading through her heart, she finally could no longer maintain her clear consciousness. No! Lu Lang! Meng Xiaochan suddenly looked up, crying out loudly, her tearful eyes gazing toward Ancestor Qin as he moved against Lu Chongqing, feeling a surge of murderous intent fill her heart. All of a sudden, she soared into the sky, charging at Ancestor Qin, who was controlling the formation. Chapter 234, Is Lu Lang Lu Chongqing? _1 What's going on? Why is Preceptor Meng attacking the Ancestor? Ancestor, be careful. Inside Red Leaf Valley, as the Qin family cultivators were channeling their energy to fortify the Great Formation, they were shocked to see Meng Xiaochan suddenly soar into the sky with purple flames appearing in her hands, launching an attack on Ancestor Qin. Not only them. Outside Red Leaf Valley, the Lu family ancestor, Lu Yuanzhong, and others who were breaking the formation were also startled by this scene. They were utterly confused. They couldn't understand the situation with this Qin family preceptor. Why she suddenly made a move against Ancestor Qin. But they saw Meng Xiaochan conjure a cluster of purple flames between her hands. Then, with a clap of her hands, a purple fire serpent formed, radiating strong mana fluctuations as it charged at Ancestor Qin. Preceptor Meng, what are you doing? Ancestor Chen also sensed something was amiss, quickly turned around, and exclaimed in alarm upon seeing the approaching fire serpent. He hastily took out an ice-blue talisman and activated it. In an instant, a horrifying cold wind swept out, seemingly freezing heaven and earth, creating multiple ice walls in front of him to block the fire serpent. The fire serpent roared, rapidly melting the ice walls. Dare to hurt Lu Lang, die. Meng Xiaochan, her eyes filled with killing intent, looked at Ancestor Chen and shouted fiercely. She unleashed a set of flying daggers, striking out swiftly. At the same time, she slapped her spiritual beast bag, and a swarm of colorful bugs of various sizes buzzed out, charging directly at Ancestor Chen. Lu Lang. Who is this Lu Lang? Could it be someone from the Lu family? Is Preceptor Meng possibly the Lu family's backup plan? The Lu family really knows how to endure, to have planted a foundation building great cultivator in our Chen family so early. Your Lu family has 3 foundation building great cultivators. You have been conceding step by step, showing weakness. It's simply despicable and hateful. We're finished, the Qin family is finished. Qin Shuixing, the Qin family patriarch, and all the elders witnessed this scene and heard these words, their faces turned pale with despair. They thought Meng Xiaochan was a mole sent by the Lu family. When Meng Xiaochan first came to the Qin family, they naturally investigated her background information. They found no connection with the Lu family. Moreover, they had been cautious with Meng Xiaochan, not revealing too much information. But they never expected Meng Xiaochan would betray them at such a critical moment. Facing the combined forces of the Lu and Bai families, 3 foundation establishment cultivators, the Qin family was already struggling to defend themselves. Now with another foundation building great cultivator turning against them and launching a surprise attack on Ancestor Qin from within, they were entirely powerless to resist. In a flash, a wave of fear and despair spread among the Qin family cultivators. Lu Lang. Who is this? The Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong, who were grappling with the heavy hammer of the Great Formation, looked at each other, equally baffled. They did not understand what was going on. Who was this so-called Lu Lang? They certainly did not know this foundation-building great cultivator. Old Lu Ghost, I had no idea you hid so deep. Bai family ancestor, witnessing the scene not far away, was also utterly astonished. Hearing this Lu Lang, he subconsciously thought that Meng Xiaochan must have been a secret pawn of the Lu family. This made him even more wary of the Lu family. Just in case he might also be targeted by the Lu family one day. After all, the 2 families had been allies for generations, without any conflicts of interest. But if it involved fundamental interests, such relations could be severed in a heartbeat. It's him. While everyone was puzzled about who Lu Lang mentioned by Meng Xiaochan was, Lu Chongqing couldn't help but curse silently. He recognized the thin young man at a glance. It was the same person who had managed to escape from him once when he had led a diversion using a foundation establishment spiritual object at 9 Dragons Market. Because he was the only one who had escaped from his clutches, and also having invited him to explore a cave dwelling afterward, which caused the peach blossom goo to indicate some romantic fortune, Lu Chongqing had a deep memory of him. Unexpectedly, they would encounter each other here today. Moreover, the other party had become a foundation establishment great cultivator. This Lu Lang couldn't be calling for me, could it? Lu Chongqing, watching the thin young man commanding the swarm and attacking Ancestor Qin, suddenly recalled something. That was, back at 9 Dragons Market, a girl in a purple dress had attacked him out of nowhere, laying a goo on him. But at that time, he hadn't understood why. Where had he offended her? Now, seeing this thin young man, he suddenly had a guess, an intuitive feeling. The person before him, the thin young man, was actually the girl in the purple dress. One reason being the romantic fortune indicated through the peach blossom goo, letting him know that this thin young man was actually a woman in disguise. Another reason was that goo and bugs were akin, and this thin young man was skilled in bug control. If that's the case, does it all make sense? Her sudden betrayal and attack, could it be because Ancestor Chen just attacked me? If that's the case, then the effects of that love goo are a bit too overbearing, aren't they? Lu Chongqing pondered in his heart. He felt it was very likely that things were as he surmised. But he did not speak out. After all, it was just a guess in his heart. He was not 100% sure that the thin young man was the girl in the purple dress. As Lu Chongqing was contemplating, Meng Xiaoquan's purple fire serpent had already broken through the ice wall and was upon Ancestor Qin. Detestable, utterly detestable. Ancestor Qin, seeing Meng Xiaoquan's murderous look, had no time to think or ask what was going on. He brought out a crimson flying sword, erupting with intense mana fluctuations, and made a fierce cut at the fire serpent before him, splitting it in two. But at that moment, swarms of bugs were closing in on him, a terrifying sight. He quickly formed a spiritual art with his hands, his robe fluttering, as billowing red flames spread out around him, resembling a sweeping fire cloud, annihilating the swarm. Chapter 235, Is Lu Lang Lu Chongqing? Break the formation, break it with all your might. Lu family ancestors saw that the battle of spells between Ancestor Qin and Meng Xiaoquan had significantly weakened the power of the formation before them. He knew Ancestor Qin couldn't multitask at this moment, both maintaining the great formation and battling at the same time. He immediately shouted out loud. Boom boom boom. With the command issued, cultivators from both families surrounding Red Leaf Valley, all brought forth magic artifacts, activated talismans, cast spells, and bombarded the Great Formation. Several array masters also, at this moment, pushed the formation to its limit, leveraging it to pry open Red Leaf Valley's Great Formation. Break! Lu family ancestor, Lu Yuanzhong, and by family ancestor, at this moment, also combined their strength to strike Red Leaf Valley's Great Formation. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Boom rumble. Red Leaf Valley's Great Formation, already converted from defense to offense by Ancestor Qin, was significantly weakened in defense. Now that Ancestor Qin was also dividing his attention, unable to fully control the Great Formation, its power plummeted yet another notch. Under the relentless assault, and with a loud, explosive noise, the second-rank Great Formation, like a glazed bowl, shattered into pieces. Phew! The Qin family elder in charge of this formation turned pale at that moment and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. It wasn't just him, all Qin family disciples connected to the Great Formation also groaned, their breathing disordered. No! Watching the Great Formation break open, Ancestor Qin, pale-faced and eyes nearly splitting with fury as he struggled against Meng Xiaoquan, roared in unwillingness. He knew their Qin family was finished today. The Great Formation is broken, kill. Lu family ancestor gave the command. At the same time, he sent a message to Lu Yuanzhong, hold back the enemy. After speaking, he held a Qingzhu flying sword, bursting with sharp energy, and attacked Ancestor Qin, who was locked in a standoff with Meng Xiaoquan, to prevent Ancestor Qin from escaping. Ancestor, you must escape. Inside Red Leaf Valley, many Qin family elders, with resolute expressions, shouted loudly towards Ancestor Qin. They were very clear in their hearts. The Qin family was finished. After today, there would be no Qin family in Red Leaf Valley. But if Ancestor Qin managed to escape, he could take the disciples outside to develop in a faraway place. Their Qin family would still have the hope of rising again. However, if Ancestor Qin died too, the chance for their Qin family to rise again would be extremely slim. Old Ghost Qin, your time has come. By family ancestor, too, issued commands, ordering the Bai family cultivators to attack Red Leaf Valley. He then turned into an escape light and moved to strike Ancestor Qin. Even though he was wary of the Lu family at this moment, he couldn't possibly break the agreement and not exert effort. After all, now that Red Leaf Valley's great formation was broken, it was time to divide the spoils. Lu, old ghost, you've hidden your plans well. Since when did you start plotting against my Qin family? Ancestor Qin, with his robe fluttering and hair dancing wildly, surrounded by fierce flames, burning the thick swarm of insects, asked, looking towards Lu family ancestor attacking him. Just go on your way with those doubts in your heart. Lu family ancestor said coldly. He himself was confused, unaware of what Meng Xiaocan's situation was while fighting Ancestor Qin. But regardless of the situation, this was an opportunity. He intended to seize this chance to slay Ancestor Qin and end the blood feud between the Lu and Qin families. Very well, I concede today. Ancestor Qin, seeing the three at the Foundation establishment level besieging him, also knew that he could not escape today's calamity. He tapped several acupoints on his chest, smacked his dantian, causing his bodhis energy and mana to surge, making even his pale face turn somewhat rosy. Clearly, he was invoking some secret technique to suppress his injuries and temporarily increase his combat power. Even if I am to die today, you will pay the price. Ancestor Qin glanced at Lu Yuanzhong in the distance with a hint of regret. Then he turned to Bai family ancestor and roared, attacking him. He knew very well among these three besieging him at Foundation establishment, it was Bai family ancestor who would dare not clash directly with him, the point of breakthrough. If he could kill Bai family ancestor in a desperate move, it would throw the Bai family into chaos. As for Lu family ancestor, his life expectancy was no more than 2 years. With Lu Yuanzhong around, there was not much point in fighting Lu family ancestor to the death. Old Ghost Qin, do you think this ancestor is easy to bully? Bai family ancestor, seeing Ancestor Qin attacking him, cursed inwardly. This whole affair was clearly led by the Lu family. Why come after him? But he also guessed Ancestor Chen's thoughts, wanting to treat him as a weak link, and quickly summoned a colorful feathered garment, radiating colorful divine light. Qin family cultivators, kill. Those who resist and refuse to surrender, kill. Those who intentionally damage property, kill. While the three at Foundation establishment level besieged Ancestor Qin, Lu Yuanzhong stood over Red Leaf Valley, holding the line, watching the two families' cultivators assail the Qin family. At this time, Fourth Elder did not question Lu Chongqing about the second-ranked talisman. Driving the flying boat, along with Lu Chongqing, Lu Miaoyun, and others, they entered Red Leaf Valley, wielding a flying sword, and began the slaughter. Alas, this is the cultivation world. Lu Chongqing watched the slaughter before him and sighed softly. He too had been through several massacres. Usually, when encountering robber cultivators, he felt no ripple in his heart when killing. But at this moment, the large-scale carnage before him did stir some emotions. However, he wasn't overly sentimental. Over the years, he had gradually adapted to the law of the survival of the fittest in the cultivation world. If you don't kill, others will kill you. If the Lu family had been the ones to fall today, this would have been their fate. I'll fight you all. A Qin family cultivator at 9th level energy refinement, utilizing magic artifacts, controlling puppets, activating several talismans, clashed against 3 Lu family elders. But in the next moment, Lu Yuanzhong, standing firm above, made his move. A mana hand came down and squashed him with a single clap. Chapter 236, is Lu Lang Lu Chongqing. Lu Chongqing recognized the Qin family cultivator. It was none other than Qin Shuixing, the Qin family patriarch and leader of those who had ambushed them on their way to Qingzhou Mountain from Qingyun's sect with Lu Yuanding. But now, this same Qin family patriarch was slapped dead by Lu Yuanzhong with a single palm strike, emitting only a muffled grunt. This is the gap between Qi refinement and Foundation establishment, Lu Chongqing thought quietly to himself. Family head. Even in death, our Qin family will never submit. Let's fight them with all we've got. Except for some cultivators not related by blood who knelt to beg for mercy, the bloodline of the Qin family fought to their last breath. Because they knew they were certain to die. Better to go down fighting than to wait for death. Kill. At that moment, not far away, a Qin family cultivator with a fierce face commanded a flying sword, aiming it straight at Lu Miaoyun. Yuner, be careful. Lu Chongqing instantly activated a talisman, forming a protective light shield around Lu Miaoyun. Following that, the green-faced sword was unsheathed, transforming into a piercing sword light that shot forth, piercing through the cultivator's chest. Og, og, og. The Qin family cultivator, blood overflowing from his mouth, looked unwillingly at Lu Chongqing and the others before collapsing to the ground with a thud. Yuner, stay by my side, Lu Chongqing said calmly to Lu Miaoyun. Though Lu Miaoyun had reached the 5th level of qi refinement, she had never really engaged in combat and had poor practical experience. This was also why the Lu and Bai families brought their clan's disciples here. Cultivation isn't about sitting back and relaxing, meditating daily, and leisurely riding on cranes. It's about fearlessness in the heart, slaying countless demons, braving brambles and thorns, to seek the path of true self. This endless road of cultivation is destined to go through countless calamities, honed by blood. All right, Lu Miaoyun obediently nodded, somewhat surprised by the strength of her husband. In such a slaughter, he remained so composed. The 4th elder, watching this scene, was likewise taken aback by Lu Changsheng's performance, feeling that her grandson-in-law was becoming more and more mysterious, unfathomable. Not only had he just used a 2nd-rank talisman, but now he calmly killed a 6th-level energy-refining cultivator. To think, Lu Chongqing had merely reached the 6th level of qi refinement himself. No wonder Chongqing managed to escape from the hands of 3 energy refinement late-stage cultivators back then, the 4th elder thought to herself. She then instructed, Chongqing, Yuner, be careful and don't stray too far from Grandma. Though this battle was victorious, a cornered beast will still fight. The desperate retaliation from the Qin family was bound to injure, or even kill, some of the Lu and Bai family disciples. Such things were inevitable. Grandma, rest assured, Lu Chongqing nodded. He had no desire to rack up merit by killing enemies. If a Qin family cultivator charged at them, he would counter and kill. If not, he would stay with Lu Miaoyun by the 4th elder's side. Meanwhile, above Red Leaf Valley, Ancestor Qin, amidst the siege of 3 Foundation establishment cultivators, hair disheveled, spitting blood, wounded all over, was driven to madness. The moment the Great Formation broke, his mana had been damaged. Now entangled by 3 adversaries and witnessing the slaughter of his clan, he was driven to extreme desperation. All of you will die. Boom. Realizing his own end was near, Ancestor Qin pushed the secret technique he was using to the limit. He detonated his spiritual artifact and took out a blue pearl, hurling it towards the Bai family ancestor. After all, in his eyes, although this battle was due to Meng Xiaoqian, he hated the Lu family and Bai family even more. He wanted to drag someone with him in death. Boom! 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 Amidst the explosion of the spiritual artifact and the heavenly thunder pearl, the sky erupted with a thunderous noise and a dazzling white light. It made everyone in Red Leaf Valley turn their gaze towards the spectacular white light in the sky. Ancestor! Ancestor! Lu Yuanzhong and the Bai family had hurriedly rushed toward the center of the white light. Cough cough. If it hadn't been for my early precautions, that old ghost Chen's dying struggle and the self-destruction of his spiritual artifact along with this heavenly thunder pearl, I might really have been done for, Lu family ancestor said, coughing up blood. It's fine, I had anticipated that the old fiend would fight desperately at his death. Bai family ancestor, too, was coughing up blood, his spiritual clothing and feather cloak damaged. He was infuriated at the thought of Ancestor Qin trying to take him down with him. The injuries from this battle would take 3 to 5 years to heal properly. And with that mighty explosion, as Ancestor Qin perished, Meng Xiaoquan's mental spirit also regained a sliver of clarity. Her disguise of shape and appearance was broken in that moment. She transformed from a thin young man into a delicate-featured, stunning girl clad in purple, with an ethereal and vivacious aura. She too had been injured in the fray and the explosion of the spiritual artifact. Her complexion was somewhat pale, making her gorgeous face appear all the more pitiable. Such a terrifying Lockhart Gu. At this moment, Meng Xiaoquan's recognition of the horror of the Lockhart Gu deepened. She hadn't laid a hand on Lu Chongqing herself, merely let Ancestor Qin make his move. But watching Ancestor Qin attack Lu Chongqing, the affection flooding her heart directly caused her to lose her sanity. The only thought in her mind was to die for love. Once the Lockhart Gu takes effect, breaking free from it is extremely difficult. I can't continue like this. While I still have not completely lost myself, leaving Jiang country and never seeing him again is the best strategy. Moreover, this man seems to be my nemesis. At this moment, Meng Xiaoquan felt nothing but fear towards Lu Chongqing and harbored no ill will, only love. She no longer dared to suppress the effects of the Lockhart Gu, knowing that the more she resisted, the more she suppressed, the faster she would fall. Especially when the affection surged like a tidal wave, instantly causing her to lose her reason. Moreover, having been thwarted by Lu Chongqing 3 times, she had abandoned the idea of seeking revenge. The first time, she nearly lost her life and forfeited 2 Foundation establishment spiritual objects. The second time, not only did she lose the Lockhart Gu, but was also backfired on by the poison Gu, which almost cost her own life. Now this third time, for the sake of Lu Chongqing, she fought with Ancestor Qin and almost sacrificed her life. She dared not contemplate what the outcome would be if there were a next time. Thank you for your assistance, Daoist friend, Lu family ancestor expressed, without concern for Meng Xiaoquan's change in appearance, with a polite bow. This battle would have been impossible to win so easily without Meng Xiaoquan's help. Even if they could have taken Red Leaf Valley, he, the Lu family ancestor, would have had to fight to the death with Ancestor Qin and possibly perish here. There's no need for thanks. I assisted you all for the sake of Lu Lang, Meng Xiaoquan said with a lamenting tone. Saying so, her beautiful eyes filled with longing and affection as she looked towards Red Leaf Valley, at a handsome young man standing upright with a magical sword in his hand. Lu Lang. Lu family ancestor, by family ancestor, and Lu Yuanzhong were all somewhat taken aback by this address, not knowing who this Lu Lang was. Following Meng Xiaoquan's gaze, they immediately saw the 4th elder, Lu Chongqing, Lu Miaoyun, and others. Lu Chongqing. The moment Lu family ancestor saw the group, his eyes immediately locked onto Lu Chongqing. He surmised that this Lu Lang must be Lu Chongqing. This made him, a Foundation establishment ancestor, feel a surge of shock in his heart. He had always thought Lu Chongqing was extraordinary, a person with grand opportunities and destiny. But this was beyond belief. Despite still being in the Qi refinement realm, an energy refinement cultivator had caught the heart of a Foundation establishment great cultivator, who now looked at him with such a lamenting gaze. And, he remembered that when Lu Yuanding and the 4th elder reported to him about Lu Chongqing, they mentioned that Lu Chongqing liked to marry and sire children, having many wives and maids. In such circumstances, yet another Foundation establishment great cultivator had fallen for him. This. Lu family ancestor didn't know what to say for a moment. Lu Chongqing. Lu Yuanzhong also followed Meng Xiaoquan's gaze, his eyes full of surprise and suspicion as he looked towards Lu Chongqing. He was not very clear about the situation with Lu Chongqing, but Meng Xiaoquan's words and eyes left him utterly bewildered. Lu Chongqing. The current situation made by family ancestor feel that something was amiss. It seemed that this Foundation establishment great cultivator wasn't arranged by the Lu family ancestor as a covert collaborator within the Qin family. It appeared to be due to a Lu family disciple. Watching Meng Xiaoquan's tender and longing gaze directed at an energy-refining cultivator, he felt almost like he was in a dream. Even though this energy-refining cultivator was indeed handsome and striking, since when did the cultivation world care so much about appearances? While the three Foundation establishment ancestors were in the midst of questioning life, Meng Xiaoquan, with her dress fluttering in the wind, flew down towards Lu Chongqing in the midst of Red Leaf Valley. Chapter 237, I really didn't mean to live off a woman. _1 At this point, the killing in Red Leaf Valley was almost over. The bloodline of the Qin family's cultivators had been nearly wiped out. All that remained were cultivators with different surnames, as well as slaves and mortals. Then, following a thunderous boom that shook the heavens and earth from above Red Leaf Valley, everyone raised their heads to look at the piercing white light in the sky. As the white light gradually dissipated, the figures of the Lu family ancestor, the Bai family ancestor, and a purple-clad figure appeared. But there was no sign of Ancestor Qin. Everyone knew that Ancestor Qin was dead. From today onward, the Qin family of Red Leaf Valley would be no more. As for the previously seen thin young man, he had disappeared. Instead, there was a purple-clad girl with a stunningly beautiful face and an ethereal, elusive temperament. The crowd also guessed that this purple-clad girl was actually the thin young man in disguise. To this, they were somewhat surprised, but it also seemed inevitable. After all, just now many had heard Meng Xiaoquan calling out Lu Lang. From this address, it was clear that this Lu Lang was most likely a man. One man calling another man Lu Lang might make sense, but it also seemed a bit strange. However, if it turned out to be a female cultivator, it would appear quite normal. Watching the exquisitely beautiful Meng Xiaoquan in the sky, everyone thought to themselves, wondering who this Lu Lang she mentioned could be. To have captured the heart of a Foundation establishment great cultivator in such a way. Is it the Lu family ancestor or Yuanzhong? Members of the two families gazed at the Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong in the sky, speculating in their minds. It's really her. Lu Chongqing, looking at the purple-clad girl in the sky, thought to himself that it was as he had guessed. He knew he had guessed right earlier. The thin young man from just now was the same purple dress girl who had placed the goo on him back then. Although the girl in the purple dress had a pretty face which was only considerately beautiful and varied greatly from the current exquisitely beautiful features and the ethereal, elusive temperament, the contours of her eyebrows and eyes, together with her current attire, allowed Lu Chongqing to see a resemblance. He was 100% certain that the two were the same person. Does this mean that the Lu Lang she called out was me? Did she suddenly attack Ancestor Qin just now because of me? Because Ancestor Qin attacked me? Lu Chongqing pondered to himself. He felt he had mostly figured out the cause and effect, and his confusion was clearing. But then, Lu Changsheng's thoughts halted, and another question came to mind. Under these circumstances, she wouldn't come over and greet me, would she? This thought made Lu Chongqing suddenly feel a bit panicked. If she were to come over and greet him in front of this crowd, and call out Lu Lang again, wouldn't he be exposed? He would draw attention and be remembered. However, no sooner had the thought crossed his mind than Lu Chongqing saw Meng Xiaoquan, in her purple dress, drifting down from the sky towards him. Damn it! Lu Chongqing couldn't help but curse internally. This was really setting him up. Under the gaze of everyone present, Meng Xiaoquan approached Lu Chongqing. Her delicate face was slightly pale from the recent battle. Her eyes, full of sorrow and apology, looked at Lu Chongqing. Then, with a voice mellifluous and shy, she said, Lu Lang. Hiss. 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 At that moment, everyone around was shocked, stunned, taken aback. The fourth elder was stunned. Lu Miaoyun was stunned. Lu Yuanding was stunned. Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan were also stunned. Just a moment ago they were speculating how deeply the Lu family ancestor and Lu Yuanzhong were hiding their true strength, having even kept a Foundation establishment great cultivator as a spy within the Qin family. But never in their wildest dreams had they imagined that this Foundation establishment great cultivator's Lu Lang was actually Lu Chongqing. Lu Chongqing, who was outside, actually knew such a Foundation establishment great cultivator. And at that moment, this ethereal and fairy-like great cultivator looked tenderly at Lu Chongqing with a voice as soft as water, calling out Lu Lang. From their tone, everyone in the moment heard endless sorrow and affection, which caused everyone to gasp in unison. Sigh. Lu Chongqing sighed inwardly. He could clearly feel that at this moment, countless eyes filled with shock, surprise, doubt, admiration, and respect were fixed on him. He knew he could no longer keep a low profile. "Miss, glad to see you're unharmed." Lu Chongqing, looking at Meng Xiaoqian before him, said somewhat awkwardly. While speaking, he stealthily slid his hand into his sleeve, clutching the golden light brick talisman treasure. Although he suspected that she had fallen in love with him due to the backlash of the affection goo, the underlying reasons and effects were mostly his own speculations. He was still unclear about the exact effects of this love goo. He didn't know if she would still try to harm him. After all, their first two encounters had not been very pleasant. Lu Chongqing also found it too much of a coincidence that Ancestor Qin had suddenly attacked him, and he suspected it might be related to her. This made him extremely cautious. Nevertheless, considering he had the profound origin bead on him, he was still quite confident when facing the current Meng Xiaoqian. If Lu Lang recognized me yet was unwilling to meet, how could I be unharmed? Meng Xiaoqian's delicate lips curved slightly, and her starry eyes full of sorrow spoke. It was as though she was looking at a heartless lover. Hearing this, Lu Chongqing watched her sorrowful expression and twitched in annoyance. "Big sister, we've only met 3 times in total. I don't even know your name." He thought to himself that this affection goo was far too domineering. Ever since the goo backlash, he hadn't seen her, and now upon meeting her, she was like this. He was relieved that he had the peach blossom goo, or he would have been in the same state. Just the thought gave Lu Chongqing shivers. Hiss. 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 And at this moment, everyone around him gasped again. Chapter 238, I really didn't mean to live off a woman. If it wasn't for fear of speaking loudly and disturbing this Foundation establishment great cultivator, who might be addressed reverently, they surely would have given their opinion and said that Lu Chongqing did not recognize what was good for him. Even more extreme, some directly plopped to their knees. They felt that at this time, they should be kneeling to listen to how Lu Chongqing would reply. Not just them, but also the 3 ancestors high in the sky were stunned. Just now, when they learned that the Foundation establishment great cultivator's Lu Lang was Lu Chongqing, they were too shocked to speak. But now, seeing this Foundation establishment great cultivator show such a demure daughterly attitude in front of Lu Chongqing, felt even more like a dream. This Lu Chongqing, what kind of charm does he possess? To actually make a Foundation establishment great cultivator display such an attitude. One must know that in the cultivation world, there are far fewer female cultivators than male cultivators. And as the cultivation realm increases, the disparity between the number of males to females becomes even more severe. Hence, in such a situation, female cultivators with beautiful looks and profound cultivation levels are especially popular. Most female cultivators would have several, or even dozens of suitors. Yet at this moment, a Foundation establishment great cultivator resembling an immortal was showing such an attitude to an energy-refining cultivator. It truly made them question life itself. They felt as if the decades or centuries they'd lived had been in vain. Only at this moment did they truly educate their eyes. Seeing that Lu Chongqing did not speak, Meng Xiaoqian sighed softly. She spoke to herself, Xiaoqian knows that Lu Lang holds a grudge against me in his heart, hence he is not willing to acknowledge me. But now, my heart towards Lu Lang is sincere. This is the gift Xiao Chan prepared for Lu Lang, a token of my feelings, please accept it, Lu Lang. Meng Xiaochan said with a melancholic sigh. She handed a storage bag to Lu Chongqing. A gift, a token of affection. Lu Chongqing eyed the storage bag before him, his gaze narrowing slightly. He felt that the other party was sincere, but the current situation, quite frankly, baffled him, and he did not know how to respond. Plop. Plop. Plop, sounds of knees hitting the ground rose. One could see young cultivators from both the Lu family and Bai family kneeling, looking toward Lu Chongqing. They felt that they could only kneel and learn from this level of conversation to show their respect. They did not dare to hope to be like Lu Chongqing, to have a foundation establishment great cultivator talk so humbly and offer gifts. They simply wished that in the future, when they had a companion to cultivate alongside, their companion would be so considerate and well-behaved, which would be more than enough to satisfy them. Does Lu Lang not want to forgive Xiao Chan? Meng Xiaochan saw that Lu Chongqing wouldn't accept it, and her exquisite face showed a crestfallen sigh. Such demeanor and speech could melt even the strongest of steel. It virtually stunned and astonished everyone around. A foundation establishment great cultivator is actually fawning over Lu Chongqing like this. Not far away, Lu Miaohuan watched this scene in astonishment, biting her lip. She hadn't expected that Lu Changsheng's charm could reach such a degree. To make a foundation establishment great cultivator, who in appearance was not the slightest bit inferior to her own, act like this. This caused Lu Miaohuan to feel an intense sense of crisis in her heart. But the next moment, when she saw Lu Changsheng's indifferent attitude toward Meng Xiaochan and thought of how Lu Chongqing usually treated her, she couldn't help but puff out her chest with pride. What does it matter if she is a foundation establishment great cultivator and beautiful? But Lu Chongqing likes someone like me. Lu Miaohuan's heart leaped with joy as she found a reason to be happy. Lu Miaoge also quietly watched this unfold. She knew that Lu Chongqing had some secrets. But she had never imagined that Lu Chongqing had hidden them so deeply. She couldn't understand how Lu Chongqing had made a foundation establishment great cultivator fall for him like this. Husband, since it is the senior's goodwill, you should accept it, said Lu Miaoyun, holding Lu Changsheng's hand, speaking softly. She too was shocked by the situation before her. She never thought that the Lu Lang mentioned by the senior was actually her own husband. She was simply at a loss for words. But seeing a foundation establishment great cultivator act like this, she too wanted to show her own closeness and magnanimity. Yes, Chongqing, since it's the girl's sincere feelings, you should accept it, the fourth elder also spoke up. She hadn't expected that the Lu Lang spoken of by the foundation establishment great cultivator was actually her grandson-in-law. And to display such humility in front of her grandson-in-law. Seeing this, she was somewhat tempted to tell Lu Chongqing that he did not appreciate what was good for him. After all, usually, a foundation establishment great cultivator was an elder master that anyone would respectfully greet. But now, a foundation establishment great cultivator was apologizing and making amends to Lu Chongqing, an energy-refining cultivator, which made her feel that even if there was a fault, it was enough. Fine, thank you, Miss Xiaochan, I will accept the gift, and we can put the past grievances aside, said Lu Chongqing, carefully reaching out to take the storage bag. But his heart remained vigilant, prepared to react at any moment. After all, if the other party really meant to strike at him, even with the profound origin bead at hand, a slight carelessness could still mean danger. Lu Lang is willing to forgive Chon'er. Upon hearing these words, the wistfulness disappeared from Meng Xiaocan's eyes. Her stunningly beautiful face revealed the innocent joy of a young girl, with shallow dimples that were captivating. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly. If there had been no one around, he certainly would not have nodded in agreement, as he needed to observe the effects of the goo of affection. But now, in front of such a large audience, with so many people around, it would not be good for him to say too much. Lu Lang is willing to forgive Chon'er, that's wonderful, said Meng Xiaochan, her voice filled with genuine emotion, but Chon'er has important matters to attend to and cannot stay by Lu Lang's side. Once I have attended to my affairs, I am willing to cast aside all vanities to boil soup and cook meals for Lu Lang, and spend the rest of our lives together. Having said that, with eyes full of reluctance, she rose gracefully into the air and turned into a beam of escape light, leaving. Phew! Seeing Meng Xiaochan depart, Lu Chongqing also exhaled a breath of relief.